Hey everyone, Joshua Hanlon here with Grant Davis at Brickworld Chicago 2017, and we are about to start our show floor tour. So this will be our tour of basically every build on the convention floor here at Brickworld. We do our best to talk about as many builds as possible and give you a look at everything that's on display here.
We're not going to have the opportunity to talk about every detail specifically, but we're going to show you everything, give you a couple close-ups of it all, and then you'll have a chance to feel what it's like being here. So the first build we have here is by Chris Productions on YouTube, a very popular guy. This is the Citadel Tower from Rogue One, and it is huge. Chris, how tall is this build?
More than 7 feet, maybe 8 feet. I don't know. I can't reach that high and find out.
So 7-8 feet, something like that. It's crazy.
So it looks like we're covering four tables long of about 3 feet wide, and I don't know, maybe 20 feet deep here. It's not all covered, but it's largely got studs and other things around there. Really, really huge. You notice all the figures around and stuff. You got some of the more interior scenes over there. Even looks like a little lunchroom up there. From some very nice details back in there. Got all the water, the palm trees, getting that nice look in there.
Exactly, yeah, and the islands with different ships and stuff and scenes from the movie. So very, very cool. So then now we'll go around. So this is the whole Rebel Lug area. So lots of different builders have stuff on display around here. A lot of Star Wars scenes. So we'll make our way down. Here's something by Tyler. Very interesting use of black here with sort of the contrast with the light path going through the middle. It's an interesting Star Wars build.
Yeah, and so this you don't actually see in any of the Star Wars movies, but it is, I think, from the expanded universe or one of the books or something like that. Clone Wars, there we go. My fault there. Yeah, it is canon, as he's saying right now. So very cool, very good look, very unique. You don't see anything else like this here.
That's right. We have Sean Cassidy here to give us some expert advice.
Hello. Did you hear me yell your guy's name?
I did, just a little bit. Thanks for that. It was very good. Here's a Battle on Scarif. So this would be like sort of a smaller version of the massive build we have over there.
Yes. This is just the battle outside where they docked their ship when they first got here. Docked the official Rogue One ship. Yeah.
There we go. So lots more fun Star Wars stuff here. Here's more classic, older. The best mock at Brickworld. Okay, that's quite the lofty praise there.
People's Choice Award, he's winning that this year, and all the awards.
It's cool because like they got a Y-wing from the original trilogy, and it's in the Clone Wars, so that makes sense.
I can see how the story continues there.
There's a lot of really cool Phase 1 and Phase 2 clones mixed together, as you can see. It's really accurate.
Throwback to the classic clone base. Yeah.
I love the thought you put into it. Let's keep moving. So here's a whole bunch of smaller builds. There's some train and stuff mixed in here.
So it's generally a Star Wars lug, but they are builders and they do dabble in other things, it looks like.
Mm-hmm. Get some nice detailed train. That's cool, the smuggling freighter. Here's a Brickmania kit. Clone base. And then here's something, you'll notice these cards are by a bunch of builds. This is a good time to mention this. These are nominated for different awards. So this is one, Best Youth Creation. There's all sorts of other awards that Brickworld gives out.
Best Youth Creation is just anybody under the age of 17 that's displaying here a build. So somebody maybe 17, 16 in here built this, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah. The big Imperial cargo shuttle and all this cool stuff. Here we've got some weapons on display. World War I grenade. Russian 1895 sniper, lots of cool weapons.
I'm going to leave the talk of history and World War II and World War I to Joshua here.
We'll leave that firmly in my wheelhouse as we move around. Let's see here, some smaller vignettes and things. And then round the corner here, get around the pillar, got the Direwood Castle, which is a really nice castle. The first of many castle builds we'll see around Brickworld here.
One thing I'd like to point out in particular is these arches down on the front. Instead of just doing like a gray facade on the front, they got some basic slopes with other inverted slopes right there. It looks really nice, pretty unique.
And here's a large ship. Is this your build here?
Right now, I'm just fixing up the top part of it there, though. But it's pretty complete for the most part. Very proud of a year's worth of work that I put into this. She's my pride and joy.
How long is this?
This is I measured it at about 6 feet 3 inches.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, from the tip of the end of the rocket there to the tip of the beacon.
Very impressive. Thank you. Looks great. Keep moving around. So here is mosaic called Prince of Peace. So very large mosaic there. Very interesting.
Another little bit smaller mosaic here, Halo. I'm not sure which of the versions or anything in there it's supposed to be, but it looks pretty good. Got nice shading with different colors and things in there.
Moving to military diorama, some nice custom minifigs. And then Sean, who you saw earlier, has his Halo build here. So not a lot of Halo builders, but he's got a nice little diorama for us. Good stuff. Some Star Wars, large lightsabers, blasters. Best replica is one category, so you see some of this replica type stuff on display.
Yes.
And keep moving down, some more vignettes. Here's a larger Plo Koon's death. So you got the two ships fighting there. Some really interesting sort of landscaping rock grass work there with the slopes.
Definitely. It's not easy to pull off. They even had to sort of round the back of it there to make sure the slopes didn't stick out too much or anything. It's difficult. And down in front here, this spaceship, we got some very small things, but very intricate and detailed. And those are some very nice mechs just on like a 6x4 tile and plates, it looks like. Really great detail there.
Very nice city build, Jeddah City. And so you might recognize this from Rogue One. Yeah, some more recent Star Wars movies. Got all the characters in there. And here's a nice Star Destroyer crash by Simon Liu. So this is, once again, from one of the more recent movies, and very cool with the two big Star Destroyers crashing into each other. I like that.
And the best part is obviously all the jumbled Star Destroyer pieces in there, all the different plates and tiles, cheese slopes, all that stuff, along with the nice little TIE fighters out there, which is just a dark gray Travis brick. That's what the builders here call them, with a 2x2 tile on the outside. Really works really great.
It's a beautiful explosion of gray there. And that brings us here to the end of Rebel Lug and this massive Star Wars build. So that's the first of many squares that we'll take you through. So now we'll move on to Mosaic and Micro City section. This first build is by E.J. Bocan, and we have shown their work several times throughout the years on the channel. This is Stephen King's The Dark Tower. So great field of red flowers and then large, scary-looking tower there.
An interesting style choice is that they chose to have the flat side of the flower facing up, and these are the older type of flowers. You find these only back previous than 3 years ago, instead of the other way around with the stud up. It gets this slightly different look, which is the really, really cool things that builders come up with to make their mocks really impressive.
Exactly. So now we'll go into mosaics. You've got Starry Night, famous painting there, Bill Murray portrait, Betty Page, and then Iron Man, just nominated for Best Artwork. So shout out to EJ there. Here's a cool build. I like the spinning, very fun-looking build with the small tanks and stuff there.
Yeah, a lot of builders build things here that are viewable in 3D, and they do backs and interiors and all that stuff, and we're only able to see the front. So when a builder does this and lets us see all the different neat details on the sides, like, look at that lettering. That is beautiful lettering. It's really great to see that.
Yeah, that's a very cool, unique build. Here's the Consumer's Power building. It looks like this is built on an actual building. So this is based on a real structure. Very cool. The Columbia Hotel as well. So you notice a lot of architecture stuff here. And then Metropolis, or kind of a micro cityscape. Always cool what builders can do at a tiny scale like this. So all sorts of great stuff that catches your eye as you move through here. Skyscrapers, parks, really nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of tiles and basic trains pieces for windows and stuff, but there's also some really, really nice small details in there using some smaller pieces like minifigure hands or the like in there. It's really, really hard to work at a micro scale level, but these guys have done it and really well.
And past the micro city, you've got small sort of medieval build and then some battle bots. And I think that finishes this square out for us. So we will turn around and keep moving this direction. See what we have here. An interesting array of several. You get the Chicago Metro City line, so some train and stuff there. A little bit Rainbow Warrior.
And this next section here, you'll see a lot of sections that are done just by a single builder. So this entire 2 tables worth is done by John Klapeek. He's done a bunch of different themes. He's got like medieval modulars, architecture, micro scale, all of the things here. It is pretty cool to see the range of builders, not just doing like a big giant castle. Although that is impressive, it's a completely different skill to dabble in all the different themes and do really good in them.
Yeah, so lots of impressive stuff here. The boats, the buildings, everything.
We have John right here. Do you want to say anything, John, about your builds?
Well,
Yeah, well, just a lot of different diversity in my builds. I try to have a lot of different themes, and I think, like Grant said, I just build a lot of different themes. I want to do micro scale and finding the moving more out of minifigure scale and just focusing more on details. And
what's the favorite of your builds here? Do you have a favorite?
favorite of my builds is probably the micro scale, just because I'm able to combine so much detail into a small area and really look at the parts not just as a little part to be used in a larger build, but confining more to space, you're able to get a better glimpse of a model, if that makes any sense.
Sure, yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Great builds here. Thanks for bringing these out. Thank you. We'll come around the corner here and check out this sort of large city with lots of going on here. One thing that I noticed immediately is in front here, you'll notice a bunch of custom sort of minifigs based on kind of that Hulk type minifig, but customized for a bunch of other types of characters.
Yeah, really good paint jobs on all these, and that body shape. I think we got the rock monster, like the Rancor from Star Wars. I think that's it. All those different bodies in there, and you can paint them up different ways and make them look like different, bigger, bulkier characters from other series, like you're seeing here.
Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, lots of action in the city back there with brick coaster and all the other stuff going on. And here's some nice spaceships. The Brickworld badge, I like that. The giant Brickworld badge. And then some nice Blacktron there. And then something that has made an appearance at many Brickworld shows, so I'm sure you've seen it before if you've seen our tours, is the giant Hope Castle here. And it's always different and new and interesting with lots of really cool lights on it. So during World of Lights, this is super awesome.
I've seen it a few times. He's made it up to BrickCon one time with this, and he's got many 1x2 trans clear bricks and tiles on there. It's quite the feat to even just have that many pieces, yet alone put them together in a cool way to look at and innovate and do that every time he comes to a convention.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and big army with the Chima minifigs and everything there as well, so very nice. And then we'll head this direction. There's kind of an open area here, so one thing you'll notice, I'll point out real quick on the left, a lot of the stuff is covered up, but the vendors here, if you haven't seen our tours in the past of Brickworld, you get vendors on the outside walls, and then there's actually more recent Brickworld shows, they've started putting them in the middle as well, so you'll see some of that as we go along. And then you can see the big Pinewood Derby type track for the Lego cars to race down. And I think, yeah, we'll cut right over to this big section.
So right over here, if you want to hop on the other side of us, we've got some different mosaics. So it's just basic brick, right? But the trippy thing is they're doing it in patterns that fool the eye, and maybe you can pick it up in video, but in person here, it really looks like some of these are warped and stuff, but it's just on the square grid, and that's all. They've got some different slopes and different ways and different depth to a couple of them. I think it works really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of messing with the mathematics of it all to figure out exactly how to make those shapes is very interesting. Walk down and check all these out. Next to that, we come to a build that's very different to those mosaics. This is a Napoleonic battle. I don't think the builder calls it Waterloo, but it's essentially the Battle of Waterloo here, with massive squares of British and French troops and German and Dutch and Belgian troops that would have been found at the Battle of Waterloo. So some pretty accurate uniforms and things. You can even see on the front here they kind of compare it to their real life counterparts. So this is really awesome. It appeals to the military historian inside me, so you match up Lego in that, and I love this kind of thing. So I think it's really cool. The builder has this many minifigs to display here.
Josh has recently completed a history degree, is it? So this is right up his alley.
It is. This makes me very excited. So then here we have some Friends. You got like the Friends roller coaster, the new carousel in the background.
Yeah, this looks like a big collection of the different sets and figures, and they're sort of making a fairground nice looking.
The nice park scene, and then I think we come to some more similar mosaics to the types we saw earlier.
This looks to be by Brickology, and they've got this big tower up in the back there with their logo on it. I don't know if you can see that. Mm-hmm. They've been spending all week with a ladder putting that up.
Yeah. Brickology is a mainstay of Brickworld for a number of years. They always have some big, huge tower, some big round thing that's cool looking, and mosaics and stuff like that. So always cool stuff that you can see from Brickology here. Next, we come to a line of Dave Guan's really impressive sort of carnival rides, and these things, when they're moving, are really cool. They've got lots of movement, lighting, and stuff. So these are all sorts of fun stuff to watch with these rides.
Yeah, maybe the color scheme isn't the greatest, but that's not really what he's focusing on here. He's focusing on the function, which is arguably a lot harder than having a nice color scheme. So props to him. And he's got like rubber bands and all these different gears and stuff. That's really, really hard to do and quite impressive.
Yeah, definitely. So all the way down here, he's added more and more to this each year and really built up quite a few rides. Here's a really nice cityscape with some really interesting buildings here. You've got like a classic space one, this one with the brown roof. That's very different than what we see a lot of buildings.
I think that brown one should be inspired by like Rivendell architecture. Okay. Got that color scheme with the olive green in there. Also, the roads are really nice. Black with the yellow stripes is really sleek.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is interesting. The buildings are very compact, nice looking roads, so I like this. Bob's Burgers there for anyone who's a fan of the show. And next to that we have the Batcave, which I think there are several different Batcaves around here. Obviously, since the Lego Batman movie, Batman builds like this have become very popular, and so there's always some detailed Batcaves with lots of interesting, small little fun details in there.
I think this is definitely modeled more after the Lego movie version rather than like a Christopher Nolan film here with like way more vehicles than he needs to like look at all the screens over there. You can't focus on that in like a day. Yeah, that's where he's going.
The conveyor belt of bat uniforms there.
Definitely, that confirms that it's from the Lego movie.
Cool stuff. Cat mosaic, a couple different cat mosaics. Albert Einstein with different letters and number tiles. That's neat. Here's one of several sort of color palettes that are here. So this is basically a display that shows every color that Lego has made or is currently making. So very cool stuff there. It's kind of interesting to see the wide range of colors they've made.
And one thing here is they list the Bricklink name along with the official Lego name. So I personally use Bricklink name of colors for different parts. I know a couple of other people that do it the other way, use official Lego names, but that's just where we're going with this right now. And there's two ways to call each color because Bricklink and Lego have their own naming systems. It's kind of inefficient, but it works.
Figure it out. Here is a large red minifig who has enjoyed the night's festivities, clearly, with some nice mosaics behind him. And then a nice little sort of sea monster pirate battle here. And then looks like we've got a Star Wars, a bunch of different rooms. There's Build-A-Bear. That is pretty funny. A library and stuff in there. And this is K-Lug, which is the Kenosha, Wisconsin Lego users group. So they always have a bunch of stuff here. Brickworld, very impressive layout.
Yeah, and take notice of this here. It looks like a monkey infestation of some sort. They got flat silver monkeys, which is something I haven't seen before now, along with the exosuit there trying to fight them off. A lot of bananas.
You never have too many bananas. This is really great. I love the billboard, the Darth Vader billboard, sort of a twist on the old like World War II recruitment posters.
Propaganda. That's what it is. Empire propaganda.
Some impressive buildings here as we round the corner. Gothic police station, I like that. Even more monkeys out here on the coast.
And this is something we see here in the next build along is something built for the little Heroica figs from way back when. It's a different scale from, I don't know, all the way micro scale, like 1/16 or whatever people do, and minifig scale or larger scale. But you don't see a lot in microfig scale, and I think they did a really good job with that.
Definitely, yeah. That's an impressive building. Here's Star Wars Trench Run, so a famous scene there. Looks like they've got incorporated a little bit of lighting as well. Very cool. Lots of greebles. You just kind of go crazy with the greebles on this kind of build.
There can never be too many greebles on the Death Star.
Exactly right. Around the corner, you got some smaller mosaics here, some sports stuff, Snoopy, famous logos.
This looks to be a series of different Star Wars characters. Yes, these are all Star Wars characters built in a very specific style. All studs out, nearly all studs out anyways. Get a specific look. And with the size and the variety they have, it's quite impressive.
Yeah, this is a lot of Star Wars characters here. It's been a while identifying every one of those. Cool Batman build. I like that. Sort of an interesting size and scale there that you don't see that often. Then moving down, got some sort of facial wear stuff there.
Yeah, a couple of wearable things. We'll see a couple of those later. I like that white mask in particular.
Sarlacc pit, so from more of the classic Star Wars. And then finishing, not quite out, but coming down to the end of this table at least, is some really cool, I believe, Frank Lloyd Wright houses. So at least one of these, I think both of these are Frank Lloyd Wright.
And one of them was nominated for Best Small Building as well. So peak of the building skill here.
Very, very detailed builds. Really well done. Blacktron. So some of the more older space lines. Looks like we've got some work in progress stuff here. You can see some stuff left over from the boat race, which is where they go to the hotel pool here at Brickworld and race boats around. That's always a fun event.
Moving up here, we have the Treehouse Fort from Adventure Time. I think they got some of their own figs mixed in with the official LEGO Ideas set. The interesting technique here is they decided to sort of weave the leaves. Not every single one is attached, but you can sort of bend them, and they're a slightly bendable piece, and they're able to get a nice rounded shape that way. I think it works pretty good.
Yeah, this is a great build. We have a more in-depth video from Brickworld Indie. Actually, the builder had this on display, so if anyone's interested in checking that out, look for that on the channel, and you can find a more in-depth video there.
Five Nights at Freddy characters there. Five Nights at Freddy's, plural. I should get that right. People will hate me if I don't.
You know you'll get comments. Nice. Okay, so I think that finishes out this square with the back to the Brickology. So we'll keep moving. I believe we have the first of several large train layouts, and this is the Texas Brick Railroad and Penn Lug layout, which we will go around. You can spot some of the builders inside and outside the display. So stuff to look out for here is always really nicely done trees, some great buildings, but of course the star of the show is the trains. Incredible trains all around here. Just blows my mind what they're able to do.
Definitely. Usually they work within like a 6 stud wide or 8 stud wide area, and I can't imagine being restricted to that for every and only build that you do. We got looks like a couple of them running here. Got some nice cinematics going on there. Even right here is something interesting to point out. We got a bridge that people are able to even like crawl under. I think they have some mats just specifically for that. But they brought their own custom tables and all that, and they're adding an extra layer to the display here and saying, oh, well, we have our own tables, so let's make a bridge here, just like in real life, yeah.
Yeah, that's very impressive. Yeah, some more great architecture around here, cool buildings. I like the big dinosaur skeleton in the park, several dinosaur skeletons.
And one very small detail I would like to point out is this Eiffel Tower over here, made out of a single part, just repeated over and over again. I've messed around with stuff like that, not easy. Props to them for figuring that out. Overall, great build. These trees around here, and they've got this own special little ratio here for these tracks. This isn't actually attached here, but they're still able to run on it. So they get this longer, wider arc than the official Lego curve pieces provide.
Exactly, it works well. And so you can see the Texas Brick Railroad billboard. Some Best Train nominations. And I believe this is Kale Leap Arts. Big train turntable, so lots of trains you can fit in and out there. Very impressive. This has been at Brickworld for a few years now, and it's always really neat. He's got some lights on it for the world lights. It's really great.
Some nice detailing on the inside of the building there as well, along with the roof. I really like the roof. Yeah, great little train shop in there.
As we move down this direction here, you can see just several lines of trains. Shout out to Brick Model Railroader. Check them out. Get some cool train kits. And yeah, even more, I love the mashup with military and train here. So carrying some military equipment, that's cool. Kind of a different take. And then, yeah, down here at the very end, you get a nice look, I like the different colored dump yard almost to your scrap yard type thing.
Easter eggs over on the left, some multicolored Daleks from Doctor Who. There you go. Even on the train display, they're getting into the pop culture.
Exactly. Okay, so we'll keep going around this direction. Let's head down this way. We'll make sure we hit Rocco's work here. So Rocco always has his crazy good architecture buildings on display at the show. We will walk around this display. So any building catch your eye right off, Grant?
All of them?
All of them.
Does that work? Really, really amazing. I haven't been here before to hear the history of Rocco and his journey throughout building all of these. Maybe you have a little more insight on that. But every single one of these is built fantastically, uses parts in ways you can never think of, and is really, really accurate to the source material that he's building. And he's brave enough to provide the actual buildings and pictures, and you can see the comparison, how close he's able to get. It's really cool.
Definitely, yeah. And it's just always, every year he comes back with new and better stuff. It's so cool to see, like you said, uses parts in incredible ways. And he's got, bigger city layouts. He's got single buildings. He's got some of everything mixed in here. So it's really nice. A lot of stuff from Chicago and New York City. You'll notice that. So if you're familiar with the architecture of those two cities, here's like the One World Trade Center, 9/11 Memorial, nominated for Best Small Building.
Yeah, I think this is one of the newer ones, and so they don't nominate all of his other things because they would win awards as well. But if you bring something new, they'll go ahead and nominate that because keep giving the guy awards for keep making amazing mocks. I think this is a recent completion of the 9/11 Memorial, and so he went ahead and did that building.
And then here's the old World Trade Centers as well. So there you go. And you can see some of the magazines and stuff that Rocco's been featured in. He definitely deserves all of that. Really good builds. And then down here, some more interesting buildings. The Ghostbusters headquarters. Some zombies. It's like we got sort of a disco superhero dance stuff going on there.
Arcade, maybe? Yeah, something like that. 70s.
Yeah. Lots of cool stuff here. The Wolf Warrior, Fallout, DeLorean, the famous fire tracks.
We've got the Goblin King in a little house there. He looks pretty angry.
And some cool vehicles and planes as we move down here. Around the corner, And it's like we've got sort of World War I, World War II scene here with the wall and then the small sort of castle in the background. So not a lot going on in this build. A lot of open space, but it's interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Open space is something to be used.
And then here, so this show doesn't feature a lot of Bionicle typed characters, but you see some really good ones on display here. It's interesting. So this appears to be all by the same builder. Some really cool characters. Does a good job using those types of parts.
Yeah, props to the builder's name is Drew here, getting all the different spectrum of Bionicle. We're seeing new parts from Hero Factory, all the old stuff way back when. Pretty good, solid stuff.
And then another cat mosaic, Max. More than 10,000 bricks and plates. Nothing bigger than a 2x4 was used. Then here, this is cool mosaics as well. Shields. And then down here, this is a big area that I think we've discussed a little bit in some past videos, but the builder keeps adding more and more and doing more cool stuff with it. This is Area 51 and all of the alien stuff. Massive tower here, which is just crazy. I don't even know how tall that thing is. It seems secure. Looks like he's got a lot of wires coming down here.
It can't be bigger than 25 feet because their ladder is 20 feet. So we'll cap it out there and say that they probably went for that.
Yeah, that's really impressive. And that brings us then to the rest of Rocco's builds. His latest build actually here that's new for this show is the Golden Gate Bridge, which is actually built, using this suspension techniques that the Real Bridge uses. It's really impressive. He did a great job with that.
Yeah, if you attach even a couple thick Lego plates in there, you're not able to go over that and span that distance. So the string he has in there is actually holding that up. And even the ends of this, both ends, are really greatly detailed. And the water underneath, aside from just the great architecture of this bridge, he didn't just mix in the usual 2 different blue colors, but got some dark green in there as well, and trans. Nice effect for probably a little murkier river out there.
Yeah, very cool. Now we'll go over and do the virtual lug here. So this is, every year we mention Virtual Lug and their incredible collaborations that they do. So this year they chose to do Brick of Thrones, or a Lego version of Game of Thrones. So you'll notice Old Town and lots of different sections from if you're familiar with the TV show. You've got the large sculpture of some of the characters. The Red Keep. Interesting note about some of the stuff, like the Red Keep and several of these other builds were done just in the last few days here. So Virtual Lug does a lot of stuff. No, maybe not a lot of stuff, but some stuff last minute. And they really pull it all together here in the end.
Let's be honest, who doesn't do stuff last minute? I guess the overachievers in the world, but I know I build on site.
We can't all be held to those standards.
Naturally.
So lots of cool stuff. Winterfell in the middle there is a really great castle with lots of cool round towers. You've got the Iron Throne, the Game of Thrones book. And then I think probably something that's very iconic now is the big white wall. This is a build that's been done by different builders throughout the world. You've seen big white wall builds we featured before. So this is kind of the wild side as their mammoth is attached, trying to pull down the door there.
Yeah, definitely. What's interesting about this wall is that they want to go for a different texture than the ones you guys have featured before, when it's just been studs out or tiles or something like this. They actually did what you'd consider rock work, but maybe now it's like snow work, I want to say, because it's supposed to be snow. Anyway, it's just a lot of white slopes in there that they're using to get that look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then it's kind of trans clear stuff behind it. So during World of Lights, there was lots of light coming through and gave it a nice glowing effect. And then behind it here, we've got Joe's Brick Depot, which appears to be a Bricklink shop according to the banner, but there's also stuff he has on display. So you've got modular style buildings, some train stuff.
I think this display is helping as an advertisement for him. He's saying he's got 9-volt track and all this other stuff down here. So this is one of the more involved vendors you'll see probably. Other people just sell their stuff. He's probably an AFOL as well, and is coming to have a little bit of fun as well as do the business side of things.
Exactly, and now we come to the Great Ball Contraption, and this is, I believe, the largest Great Ball Contraption in history, according to the builders. We definitely will have a more in-depth video on the channel for this, so keep an eye out for that and check that out. You can see to the left here is this year's Great Ball Contraption workshop module. So every year there's a workshop where people can build their own module, and there were something like 80 of these built at this show. So that's a chunk at the end here, but then moving down, you've got tons and tons of modules. So we'll just walk around this fairly quickly because it's obviously much more interesting when it's actually running. But we will walk around and you can get a look at them when it's sitting still here. The lower section is sort of part of the inclusivity project where kids can get up close and see stuff, look down into it, and not have to try to look over the tables. Got a ball counter there. There's, I think, 4 different bridge openings here in this. It's so big, there's 4 different spots to get in and out. Some of these you'll notice are more decorated and detailed than others. So that's cool. It's always interesting to see the more decorated modules. Walk around here. Some of these have been here for a number of years. And finish out with walking down, and you'll see the big sort of weird duck thing here, which is very, very different for the balls to go through. That was an interesting part of it. The big Ferris wheel, always cool. And then another kind of catch and release there. Steel City lug, which I think is from Pittsburgh.
That's correct.
Yeah. Another area, bridge area to get in and out here. And yeah, we come back to the beginning. So that's just kind of a quick walk around the GBC there. Obviously, we will definitely have a video when it's running and much more impressive with Tom Atkinson taking you around and talking about it. So then moving down to this end, we have, I believe a lot of this is by the Wisconsin lug, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of these builds in this section here. So we'll walk around, check stuff out. Lunar mining craft, I like what the builder's done, kind of cloth backgrounds. It's an interesting spacecraft here.
And right over here we have a piece from David Turner called Minecraft World. Looks like quite a bit of Minecraft sets. Maybe he has, I think there's probably a couple other pieces in here that aren't specifically from Minecraft sets. But you got a nice big world, something you'd see on, like, I don't know, a poster you'd get in one of those boxes. Really cool.
Mm-hmm. Got a farm scene next to that.
And pirates. I love pirates. I've said this before. It looks amazing from far away, and you get up close. There's great details, too. Poor Jack Sparrow down there getting hung. That's disappointing. I think he gets out, though. I haven't seen the movie all the way through. There's 5 more of them, though, so he probably lives.
I think so. They got to keep the franchise running. But yeah, I really like this build as well. You can kind of see how the houses kind of go higher up and they're built up sort of as the hill continues.
And down over here we have a nomination for Best Sea Vessel. So you got some nice shaping, give it a little different look there. And that roof, I have a local accent. People keep critiquing that one. You got the dark orange teeth popping out of it there. That's pretty cool. Korean
turtle ship. I've always loved that ship design. I think it's really interesting. So very nice. Great, you just have to do what I do and ignore the comments and move on.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, so then we've got nominated for Best Sea Vessel. So this is Kevin Wagner, who has several of these builds here. So he's got the Sunken Tavern. I really like these because he builds some eras and stuff we don't see real often. So this is a Roman build, sort of a forest chapel with a cemetery, which I think is interesting. Star Wars there, which you do see a lot of. And then here is like a Revolutionary War era build. So again, something we don't see a whole lot of.
Again, with some really nice interiors. You got the great pews in the church there, and over on the other one, there's like Unikitty tails. Great work.
And here is a really great build. This is Robin Hood, nominated for Best Individual Layout. And just so much detail from the forest and Robin Hood and his gang all the way to the village with the different buildings to the big, giant, detailed castle.
I think this is currently on Lego Ideas, so head over there, get that plug in for Ben there. Really, really great detail throughout. He's mastered the art of doing the castle, the small, detailed mocks that you see all around, yet he does it really big, which is quite insane. I think he spent 9 months on this. I think you've done a close-up video on this with him, and he talk about it more there, but very, very impressive work from Ben.
Definitely, yeah, look for more in-depth video. And yeah, several of the smaller buildings and stuff are on Ideas, so you can go check those out as well. Real quick, before we move on, we'll get this small layout here so you can see some military stuff on the side table, the tank, and some layouts there. Then move around to the back side real quick. And make sure we don't overlook this stuff. We're trying to show you everything as much as possible. Rebel Ambush.
James and the Giant Peach. I have not seen that movie or heard of that in 10 years. Man.
Nostalgia here.
I don't know if it's nostalgia, just lost memories found again.
There you go. It's studying 3D printing there, so interesting stuff. Here's some movie posters and some different stuff recreated in Lego.
Yeah, pop culture. We got Batman, Crossy Road. I think that's probably an app or something. Ghostbusters in there.
And then really massive, several foot wingspan from Guardians of the Galaxy here, this
I
ship.
think the proper name is Mulano.
Yes.
I want to say that. We got big enough scale to have minifigures on the interior. And that's something you don't see too often. Like, you'll see a Star Destroyer that's nowhere near minifig scale because it's like 300 miles long or something, and you can't scale that to minifigs. But they've done so here, and it's really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really great stuff there. And then behind here, we've got a few builds that use black light to really highlight them. So this is the Caves, nominated for Best Artwork. I think it's really interesting. It uses a lot of these trans clear and black pieces, so when the black light's on, it gives a really nice effect.
Yeah, so they're using some older pieces combined with some newer teeth down here, really old Bionicle pieces. I think those are probably older than me. Impressive work, sourcing all the correct parts to get the look they're going for.
Mm-hmm. Some more by the same builder here. Same style. And here's a different builder, big sort of airship, has some light stuff going in there.
Yeah, I think when the lights are turned off, you got purple sails, some green down below, and I don't have perfect color memory, but all around lit and looks way better than you're seeing here, although it is really still cool.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I really like the sails and everything on that ship as well. Swamp Mansion. So this is sort of a mansion, almost, go down south. You might find this in some of the swampier areas of the country, and all sorts of nice. They even have some Star Wars characters, so this is kind of a mashup with some other interesting stuff as well.
Yeah, Doctor Who in there.
Here's interesting stuff. Companion Cube by Andrew Beckett there.
That is from Portal 2 or 1?
We'll just go with Portal for now.
Portal, there we go. Yeah, that's it in there.
Some nice vehicles and a garage there.
This duck over here is another one of these mechanical builds you're seeing right now. I think it sort of runs around, maybe is remote. It's got enough gaps in there to make me think it does way more. Maybe it flies. I don't know. Nominated for Best Mechanical. I haven't seen it running yet, but that's definitely something to look out for.
Mm-hmm. The Grand Tournament here, this is really great medieval build. I love the round towers there. I think that's a really cool technique with sort of the tiles on the outside and lots of cool minifigs, all sorts of action going on here, brick-built tents.
Great work in the medieval genre. One fabulous little detail is the path from where the archers are standing over to the targets, indicating that they've gone and walked enough times to wear the grass down to dirt. Fabulously detailed. I wouldn't even think of things like that. It's great.
Exactly, yeah. That's kind of really subtle stuff, but adds to the build a lot. That's realism to it. So this is the Lego Movies Tower. So basically this is scenes from the different Lego movies. So you've got the new Batman movie, you've got Ninjago there, you've got the Lego movie, all sorts of stuff.
And I think they're going through all the different Lego movies that have happened, along with a couple of the scenes in the one scene where they're talking about all the different worlds that exist. I forget who was talking about that in the Lego movie. I need to watch that again soon. But you got a bunch of different scenes from that. And ever since the Lego movie came out, we've kept on seeing a bunch of different Lego movie mocks, and that's really cool to see.
Mm-hmm. And we've got an artist's desk here, so this is really interesting. I like that you've got, the light stuff there, a power strip to plug stuff in. You've got the Lego phone, the pencil.
And nominated for Best Youth Creation, so once again, under 17 years old. And to get this is a feat.
I think the power strip is really cool. I had not noticed that until walking around here. That's really neat. Very, very well detailed. Then Mexico and a big pyramid here.
I want to try this. The Pyramid of Quetzalcoatl.
I think that's close. Something along those lines.
100%.
We'll go with it. So then we've got Little Venice out here, and one of these boats is nominated for Best Sea Vessel.
Best sea vessel, yes, but look at those houses back there. Fabulous, fabulous job. They've got all the boats out there for the cinematic look, along with the great detailing and all the different colors they've decided to use, and limited of colors they've decided to use, going mostly with blues and more neutral colors there. Along with on the skyline back there, they used medium azure, which is a hard color to get. I don't know where that came from or how much that costs, but comparing that with the blue on the houses, along with the translight blue in the water, it gets a really nice look.
Yeah, that's interesting. You don't normally see a background like that would not normally be brick built. It'd be, cloth or wood or painted or something. But yeah, they went all brick built there, so that's pretty impressive. Big Nexonite lava battle here. So you don't see a lot of Nexonite mocks, so this is interesting. The two sides battling it out. Lots of cool minifig placement and big stuff.
Yeah, again with the wear, the treads back there, trenches, sort of some natural war tactics and all this stuff going on here. Though, it's space and castle combined, so how realistic can you get? You just got to have some big mechs fighting every once in a while.
Exactly. Just kind of go over the top with it. It's cool stuff. Turn around here onto the next section. We've got some basically a large train layout here for most of this with some nice buildings in between. You can see the Lego store there. That's cool.
That little truck right there uses some medium green. I think that's the proper Brickworld name. Don't see that very often, or really rarely anywhere at all. It looks really good for that.
Mm-hmm. And some more nice buildings like the raised road there. So it's not just all one level. The back section is raised up.
Yeah, you don't see that too often in city scenes like that. Maybe you'd see that in castle more, but integrating all the different ideas is really, really great.
Some pretty crazy steep road there, like San Francisco or something. Get up and down. So then this is, you can see the WIS lug, so Wisconsin lug logo there. Looks like you've got some builders here from that area. As we move around, we come to monorail. Many people, big fans of monorail. There's always a few cool monorail builds at each show.
It's kind of an obsession. I want to say they'll probably hate me for saying that, but when you guys just going to give it up? It's really, really old. Anyway, I'm saying way too much. Yes, I can't ignore these comments. Anyway,
this will be too much.
Monorail's great. I love monorail. Monorail is fabulous.
They're going to throw out the pirate builder.
Oh, boy.
We'll keep moving around and act like that didn't happen, so that some more trains here.
What happened? These trains are great. Getting serious back once again. Got some nice little construction vehicles and stuff in here that it looks like also run on the tracks. Maybe they're, look, you can see them sort of going along and building the tracks. And there's some really great machinery for that, I think. Really cool look.
Yeah, that's interesting. You don't see a lot of this sort of train construction type stuff like that. It's a nice station here. I like the little sort of Brickworld mascot type guy there. I think that was from a couple year or two ago. And then there's a little sea area here as well. the nice ship. So I think a lot of that was by the Wisconsin group, so good job there with that train layout. And we'll keep moving down the line here. As we make our way down, I think over here we come to space and then some large mech, so a nice mix of genres here actually.
So this build here was nominated for Best Individual Layout. This is personally the one that I voted for. So full disclosure there, this has basically the pinnacle of what you can get an NPU, nice part usage. It's getting some of the new tiles integrated there, some of the bigger windshields, all this amazing stuff. The color scheme is fabulous, contrasting the white with the nougat and the medium flesh. I'm not super confident with these name colors, but I think I'm getting them right. Anyway, fabulous job. Ryan Howarder is the builder, LDM on Flickr. Go and give him a follow. He's doing a great job, and this is really revolutionary, I will say. So you never see anything like this.
Yeah, this is a great build, and I think we might have a color cheat sheet there that you can consult, created by Ryan. So another one of these sort of Lego color sheets Ryan has worked on to kind of track what colors Lego has created over the years.
And these two builds here, the spaceship and the drill, are built by Sean and Steph Mayo. Sean brought them here. I don't think he even submitted them, and yet he still got nominated for Best Replica. So great job there. The one over here in particular that you're looking at now, the drill, was during an Iron Builder competition, and the seed part was to use the ribbed hose in there that you see right around the logo and up front, along with those the screws down below.
Yeah, excellent. Sean and Steph are excellent builders, so it's always great to see their work on display. Here we see a member of Virtual Lug and Brickworks Industries. Lots of great mechs here on display.
Definitely. You see them doing larger displays generally, but their builders are very skilled and can dabble in other genres. It's really cool to see that.
So all sort of the same sort of theme, color scheme built in here, and then you get some different stuff as you move down. So then this is sort of a Lego version of Warhammer, which is a popular game. I think there's definitely overlap in the Warhammer Lego communities. So
definitely building models of figures A high, and Warhammer 4000 building models of figures A high. Do them out of Lego, do them out of other things. Not really the difference.
Exactly, great figures there. Here I believe we are coming to some of Tyler Hollowell's work, and Tyler is a builder. I always look forward to seeing his work at different Brickworld shows. Really great stuff. The Niffler nominated for Best Creature, really great build. He has slightly more graphic builds as well, like the one next to it. So
slightly. What he's really great at is placing the eyes in the right spot and getting the emotion involved in building these characters. So he's got a few around here. You've seen some busts that he's done in previous years. Really, really fabulous at capturing that emotion and doing characters. I've tried, and it is not easy.
And then cool stuff, yeah. So move around here. Here's some of the builds that you probably think look familiar, because some of these show up to a lot of the Brickworld shows. So it's kind of local Indiana, Illinois type stuff from where Brian Bonahum and some of the show organizers are from. So that's why you see the Cubs and Purdue and everything, because it's the local. And then this is Brian Bonahum's World build, which I always love.
Yeah, very signature to any Brickworld convention.
And then coming down this way, I like this little Firefly Serenity. Very micro build, but still very cool.
A couple other nice vignettes back there as well.
I like this. It's a pirate's life, digital piracy. So it's kind of got the pizza and Coke sitting there, the stereotypical digital pirate.
That's pretty good. I didn't expect that. That's good.
That is good. I like that. Moving on, the modular classic space moon base. So nice work with the lettering there on the corners. I like that.
And more pirates, yay.
Yes, yeah. This is something that I feel like has kind of come and gone from Brickworld over the years. Like I've seen parts of this for several years, and I think sometimes they have, depending on space, they have more of it set up. So interesting sort of. This is like plexiglass or something along those lines, and they use that as kind of the water, and you can see through to the islands below.
Yeah, if you try to build anything with like an ocean or seabed in it out of actual Lego, you're not really able to get that look. And they do this with tan underneath for the sea below it, and then the actual builds on top. And it works really well. Great effect they've done throughout the years.
So yeah, you get the pirate stuff there, and then I think that finishes out this section. So we'll move down to the Northern Illinois Train Club here. And so this is the NILTC, which is a group that's been at Brickworld for many years because they are very local to Chicago here. So we'll just start with this, nominated for Best Spacecraft, the Satellite of Love. And lots of gray work here, which is very cool.
We got a little scene in there. I'd like to see that episode of whatever TV show this is from. Or somebody should write an episode based on this. Got the signature low sphere in here. You've seen that a couple other places before. But, just building round out of Lego should be impossible, but they do it here. It works really great.
Exactly. And then here's a big, massive building. So this is called the KLX Towers. And I love kind of the green outside that gives it the structure, and then the gray buildings inside. So not really an interior sort of floors or anything, but the outside of the buildings look very nice. Train
Arch in there as well, along with the train track running under the train track arch. Sort of meta, I want to say, but it works really good. The green is a great accent.
And I love this Culver's building as well. Very cool. I don't know, do they have Culver's where you're from, Grant?
Not in Oregon.
That is unfortunate.
Or I've never been to them.
Okay. Culver's is an amazing restaurant. You should make it to one someday. Anyway, moving around, we have more buildings here. And then many lines of train track.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 lines of train track. That means 12 trains to look at any given time if they were to stack them like that.
It looks like there's one on every track here at some point along the way.
Definitely. I think they have them, they got them running all around, up and down and sideways. And fabulous job by these guys. They come back every year with new designs, old designs, and they mimic the look of the train perfectly.
Yeah, just some really talented builders here. And nice, using the masonry bricks, nice large building there. Here's a sort of old western town. The saloon in the middle. The jail, which appears to have some cows in it for some reason.
That's normal. And look at the path down here again. Like the people have been riding through there, creating tracks, and that's really well done. I like that.
And moving around here, this is Matt Delanoy, who is a builder we've featured several times over the years. Always brings some really good stuff. So you've got Mario build here, and then to the right is his incredible Toy Story Andy's Room build, which just has so much detail in it. And he made it such a big scale, he could fit all that in there. It's really great.
Yeah, definitely. Peppa Quinn on Flickr, go check him out. He's not limited to big convention-worthy scale things like this. He's a fabulous builder all around. I mean, he's able to do Mario 64 stuff and stuff from Toy Story, completely different scales, all of that. Really, really great guy.
Yeah. The One Prudential building here. So recreating some real-life type stuff. Looks like we've got sort of a covered section.
Probably under construction based on the open tiles I'm seeing here.
Yes. It's maybe not quite finished yet. And moving around here, we've got, this is a very interesting build, a massive tank. So this is actually sort of based on German World War II sort of idea that was never really put into prototype, but an idea Hitler had for a massive sort of land battleship almost, and incredible amount of armament and everything else on this tank. It's just kind of a crazy idea that you can look at it and be like, yeah, that's obviously not going to be actually useful for any real life situation, but it is cool to think about that being built.
Supermelons have liked to blow up the moon pretty often, so maybe that's what he's going for. We'll never know, though.
Possibly. Keep moving down here. Looks like you've got some zombies along the road. The Robert McCormick Museum. So this is a really nice model of a museum here. I like that. Nice use of colors there.
And still the train track running around the front of this. These people are putting like Western and all these different builders, these build-arounds, and yet it's still the Illinois Train Club. So trains everywhere, and there's still, I think there's 2 tracks constantly running around during public hours.
Some nice stores there. Shell, so the classic Shell, Lego used to have the partnership with them, so I think a lot of people built Shell-related stuff over the years.
And then one final detail before we head off of the Northern Illinois Train Club is this right here. I think that is a half plate indent. So it's not a jumper plate in, it's not a full brick in. It is exactly half a plate in, which is feet to do, and it looks very, very great. Super, super subtle detailing on the side there with those masonry bricks.
Yeah, that's a good catch there because that's so cool. It's almost just like, a little bit of masonry came off or something.
Yeah, it just looked like the paint's off now or something. Maybe it's too many flames from burning plastic in that garbage can or something. I don't know.
So I believe that finishes NILTC. We'll catch this square over here before we move on to the rest of the show. So start with a large airport nominated for Brickworld Master, actually. So Chris Rozek, a builder who's brought a lot of stuff to Brickworld over the years. Shout out to him for this nomination. So this is his massive city airport here, which is a lot of great detail with the tiling work to do the main kind of floor area. Then you've got the airport itself with the minifigs and planes and everything.
Yeah, I like that he didn't decide to go with the, although good-looking, generic base plates. He decided to make his own, do his own tile work throughout all of it, and he's got a lot of tiles to do it. Quite impressive. It looks like 15 by 10 feet at least. I'm probably under-guessing. Really, really huge. Over 100 minifigures plus, over 50 vehicles plus, and just by estimates and looking at it, quite impressive.
For sure. And move past the airport down this way. The jungle floor, so this is interesting, sort of a section of a tree and a variety of different kinds of frogs there, like mushrooms. I like that build. Nominated for best artwork, we have Dream of Blossoms, and this is interesting because the builder, so you can see this light here with some of the trans clear like pink and white pieces, which creates a nice light that shines on the back and works really well. And you can see the effect there with the pink and white background. It works well with the flowers there.
I think I was hearing from someone, though I wasn't here to witness it. She won Best Artwork last year and is going forward again with another really innovative, great idea with this minimalistic, using light in a great way. Really fantastic. And maybe she'll get it again, nominated. We'll see in the morning.
We will. So let's keep moving this direction. I love this classic space rocket, which is just super smooth and very nice looking. Love the use of colors and everything there. And keep moving down. You got a Captain America build. Here's an interesting one, which is a massive pile nominated for best individual layout. Massive pile of gold. I believe this is from The Hobbit, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct there. So one thing to note about this is that it is official Lego Gold, 100% official Lego chromed pieces, jewels, and all that. Oftentimes with big things like this, you'll see people mix in other like play pirate jewels and all that stuff. But he went the extra mile and purchased probably, that's a big investment there to get this look. But the investment paid off. It looks fabulous. You see Frodo or Bilbo in there fighting off Smaug, stealing the Arkenstone wherever that is. Yep.
There you go. Then here's something. So this is these builds here are part of Dirty Buildster, which is interesting competition. Each contestant blindly selects 2 bags of approximately 100 random parts from a pile, and each contestant has 24 hours to make a creation from the 200 parts that they drew. So basically, you've got this really weird parts you have to work with, and in just 24 hours you have to make something. And so this is what the builders were able to come up with.
There you go. Short time frames are not easy. A lot of these are months and months of thought put into it just for this show. So, with limited parts and limited time, quite impressive.
And then there's a nice hair parlor. It's interesting. Come down here, Arctic Explorer. I really like that. And it looks like we've got some video game console nostalgia. So some of the classic games there. next to some cool artwork and Star Wars builds as well.
Good replica job on those. Probably some of the most accurate of those Star Wars builds I've ever seen.
Here is, you got the Blues Brothers car. I like that. So, some minifig versions of them. Nominated for Best Land Vehicle, the Goofy Movie Pacer.
I think the thing on top is supposed to be a big brown bag. Saw the movie a long time ago, but that's what we'll assume it is and not anything else.
We'll go with that. Here is, once again, Chris Rozak, who saw his airport here to the right earlier, nominated for Best Large Building. This is the Derek Zoolander Center for Kids Who Can't Read Good. Very nice. I believe that's from the Zoolander movie, if I'm not mistaken.
Good, just generic plate shaping on the roof of that there.
I just noticed the DZ letters in the corners. I had not noticed that looking at that build before. That's cool. So then we'll move this direction. So something that I think they've added in the last couple of years at Brickworld is vendors here sort of in the middle. And so you'll notice this next line we come to, we will sort of skip over because it's basically just one long row of vendors. So we'll go to the right here and start down here with the next section of builds. And we start with Dante's Inferno, and so you've got the different levels there, which is very interesting. And different mocks here, some sports logos, some more Star Wars stuff. So it's not just Rebel Lug that has the Star Wars stuff. You'll see it kind of a place throughout here.
Definitely.
And then some smaller builds here. Like a lot of them incorporate the balloon pieces, I think.
I know a little bit about that. Anyway, we'll talk about that later, but good job to them. Yeah.
We'll come back to that. Here is Mtron. So again, something you've probably seen before if you've watched our previous sort of tours of Brickworld shows. Mtron layout, there's always a big one at Brickworld, and this is really cool. They've got these tents set up this year with a lot of black light so that you really adds the effect of all the trans green pieces in this build.
Trans neon green is one of the best colors, and these guys have bought out probably many sellers. A lot of different, different stylistic hints they've taken from the old Mtron architecture and incorporated into their own mocks using some newer pieces. Really impressive.
Yeah, so many cool builds here. Mtron stuff, you don't really see a lot of Mtron builds, so it's cool when you get these massive layout because it's not a very well done theme.
Yes.
So keep moving around that layout and brings us to this interesting Star Wars layout, which it looks like there's sort of a train that runs the ships chasing each other around.
Yeah. This is it's too late for me to remember the name of this planet. Wherever Rey is in the beginning of The Force Awakens. The little ships are going around the side of this there. I'm going to remember in about 30 seconds after this, so I'll
yell it out whenever
I'll
it comes
yell
to
it
you.
out then. Great job. We got Rey's little house over there and the city and, the big Star Destroyer in there, and they fly through with the Millennium Falcon. Great stuff.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. There's actually a whole poster for it here, so... Brick Galaxy, science fiction brick creations. So there you go. I like the brick built Star Wars there.
Yeah, using the cheese slopes in there to get the right angles. Really good stuff.
Brick built letters are always impressive. Here, very nice layout as well. This looks like it's all maybe Marvels.
Jakku is the name of the planet. Got it.
Yes, I knew it would come to you. It's let's check the clock here. It's 1:43 a.m. in the morning. So you still got it here. We'll see by the end of it how we're doing. But anyway, I think we've got a bunch of Marvel stuff here and maybe other lines of comics as well.
Yeah, so it looks like they've got not just the Marvel minifigures, but they're making their own custom superheroes that are Marvel out of different minifigure parts, which is pretty cool and hard to do, I think.
Yeah, there's lots of impressive stuff there. And then some larger Star Wars stuff. And then some very small micro mechs and drones and things. And evolution of Tahoe. So is this, I believe, like the Bionicle, sort of from the beginning to the latest version?
Yeah, so we've sort of evolved, and they've done different styles, gone to Hero Factory. So you got cool. In my opinion, that's just me. I definitely prefer the original style to the newer, more ornate version.
Yeah, definitely. There's a wide range of opinions on some of the Bionicle lines. Lego has been very sort of hit and miss over the years with that.
I'm completely partial, though. So.
Okay, we'll exit that section and move down this line further. And we come to a series of some very large builds here. We'll start with this nice sort of Lego movie layout, which has a large, you got the movie poster, but then you've got brick built sort of logo and tickets, popcorn and buildings and stuff.
I think people have tried to recreate the Lego Movie logo as close as they possibly can. The problem is that the Lego Movie logo has a couple pieces that don't actually exist in the colors that they present. Mm-hmm. So I think they're getting as close as they possibly can. If you pan back and forth, you can see that it's really, really similar, as close as they're able to.
Yeah, it's really well done. Go this way to the Batman logo. So, got some builders still around here at the show, even this late at night.
Chris from Bricks on the Dollar, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, great bricking store. Buy from him. He's cool.
Shout out there. So this is the Lego Batman movie, which later in the tour will come to another very similar looking build as well. But this is very cool. So once again, the Batman movie has inspired some great creations. Yes.
This is not my build. I just want to tell you, there's a hidden thing that the Arkham and Gotham City the shadows are in it. So like, the lights are shining up. It's really awesome.
Okay, so it hits these pieces here and it creates like the skyline almost.
Yeah.
Okay. It looks like is.
There it is. Try it and see how.
Get the lights. So it's hard to see with the lights on in here, but you can sort of see the shadows a little bit. Yeah. I think you can faintly catch them. Then here is Suicide Squad, so nominated for Best Artwork, a movie that didn't, I think, go over so well with the critics, but this poster is very cool, and I think people really appreciate this. You can see the kind of original poster that the Lego one is built off of.
Yeah, really great job they've done here. It looks to be about 4.5 feet, 5 feet tall. Really, really big. A lot of brick involved, a lot of different brick-built characters they've done to try to mimic the poster. Quite impressive.
And then here is Avengers Snack Bar, and so you've got the characters built there with their snacks laid out in front of them. I like that. And so all this stuff in this little square here, I believe, is done by the same builder. So one builder did all of this, which is really amazing.
And this next little section here, we have some popcorn. You got the nice butter going on there. It looks to be a little bit burnt based on so much black I'm seeing in there, but you know.
It looks like Iron Man might have something to do with that. I think he burned it with his glove, maybe.
I see. That makes much more sense.
Hence why it's nominated for Best Humor, which I did not know was a category. That's interesting. That's a new one to me.
Best humor, they've got some rejects we'll see later.
Okay.
Captain Hook being eaten by an alligator, that type of thing.
There we go. Independence Day. So there's a series of Independence Day. We've got the massive mosaic here that's really cool. You've got the alien ship chasing the fighter there, which is nice through sort of the canyons and the big rocks. And then here is the really ultimate build here, which is the massive alien sort of UFO destroying New York City.
Yeah, I know. Up until this point in the movie, there was a little bit of hope, like they were able to capture a few aliens, study them a little bit. When this came down, they're like, ooh, we don't have too much luck. So compared to New York City, this thing is essentially the footprint of New York City, big and floating in the sky and with guns. So watch the movie, figure out what happens. But
Exactly.
it's very, very big, and in real life, an impressive feat of hanging it from this wooden structure that they brought. Looks a little unstable, but great building judgment. I don't know, John, if you're able to look underneath, even under there, they were able to add some great tile work and slope work to get the great look under there.
Yeah, I definitely look for a more in-depth video with this builder on all the range of builds he brought here, because it's really cool stuff. And then moving here, we've got, so this starts sort of a Brickmania section, which is why you'll see a lot of military stuff, along with some tables where like Brickmania games can be played, some of the tank games and everything. So cool. I really like the sort of half broken down church they are building. I think that's like a church building. I think that's cool.
Yeah, that's some sticking studs in one half of a plate and not the other to get a rounded look. Used in quite a few different places, really well there.
Got B-24J Liberator, some minifigs and everything to match. Battle of Normandy. Some cool Lego weapons. And we come around here. This is interesting. Looks like this might be part of, so one of the games I mentioned earlier, you can see all the tape measures here. So this is the chaos that was left over after the game was finished.
I've never played one of these games. The general look of it is as though you're rolling dice for movement and you're measuring movement and battling and fighting somebody with a different army, I think.
I believe that's exactly how it works, yeah. So you've got this whole map layout, and there's lots of ways it can turn out. Catch some more of these builds here, and then keep moving down the line. One thing here that I definitely want to point out that's one of my favorite builds at the show, it's not real big, so it's easy to overlook. This is the Holy Temple by Yitzi Kazowitz, and he works for Brickmania, designs some of their kits and stuff. Very talented builder. And so this is the second temple that was built in Jerusalem before it was destroyed by the Romans. And this build has so much detail on the outside, but there's also those middle sections can be taken out, and there's even more detailed stuff on the interior there. So it's really, really great. I love this. I love the recreations of these historic buildings. I'm just talking to Yitzi about that. It was fascinating to see how much research he put into that build. So very, very cool.
Nice little build over here, a little runway for a plane hopping out. Move over here. This looks like a little post-apocalyptic cyberpunk coming in here. Got the bunch of different layers, bunch of different designs, different like graffiti everywhere. Really cool to see this type of build at Brickworld again. Too many conventions.
Yeah, so many things with brick. But yeah, that's sort of Brickmania section there, so we will keep moving down the line. So now we are at a really great group collaborative, the Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and you can see some of the builders standing over here, but this is lots of really great builds by a whole bunch of builders that have stuff here. So this is nominated for Best Group Layout. So many details here. If you've seen the movie and you're familiar with it, I'm sure you'll recognize a lot of the scenes and the buildings and characters.
Yeah, a couple different, even small things that I like to notice. Palm tree designs back there. One using Travis Blick and brown sheet slopes, and one using the actual palm tree piece. Really, really great designs they've got throughout here. Really coherent too for how many people are building this. It really flows together really great.
For sure. We'll go around here and show some more of it. Lots of. This is
6 of them.
How many builders participate in this?
42.
That's the answer to my team.
We had 18 participated in this.
Okay.
18 builders.
Very cool. 18 builders. And what is the name of the group?
KC Brick Lab.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, this is very impressive. Good job. Look for more in-depth video on the channel with this group of builders for sure. Very cool stuff. And some more micro builds here.
Yeah, very good. You have vignette there, especially with the Kraken there. I think these are the same builders, just not part of the collab, just displaying their other stuff. So really quality small stuff as well as the big stuff they've been pulling out over there.
And then some interesting builds on the other side here. So one thing that caught my eye earlier was the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy stuff here, which I thought was very cool. And nominated for Best Humor is the Meatball Battleship.
Oh, that makes a whole lot more sense. I thought it was just a meatball sub, and I had no idea why it was nominated for Best Humor. Anyway, nomination for Best Vignette coming over here as well. Looks like a nicely colored house with some kittens.
Goodnight Moon there from the famous children's book. So very cool. I like that a lot. Build-A-Bear Workshop. Dunkin' Donuts. I like that. And then moving along here, it looks like we've got another Dalek in mosaic form this time.
Albert Einstein up there, Stark Tower. Good stuff.
And then just a few trains to show on this side. So, yeah, cool. I like that. The British cars there. Lots of cool detail.
Yeah, good coloring on these ones especially.
And then now we're moving to a section, a couple different builders. A lot of this is from Martin Harris, who we've featured, videos of separate builds here. So I think this is his first time at Brickworld Chicago, and it's really great that he was able to make it up here because he has so much cool stuff. And I think it's a real inspiration to a lot of the builders here. Really cool, different, small, large builds. He can do it all.
Yeah, great color all around, great part usage. The interesting one here is the way the Elsa... What's her name?
Rapunzel?
Rapunzel, yeah. The way her tower is made, using the different 1x1 round along with the 1x2, and then different sizes interlocked there to get sort of a telescoping effect, I want to say. Make it look like it's tapered up. It looks really good.
Yeah, I really like that. Then he's got a tennis match there. And once again, this is a larger trench run than I think the one we saw before. Some bigger ships and everything, bigger greebles.
And I think these are custom TIE fighters and TIE destroyers and X-Wing fighters over there, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. So that was Martin's work. This is I believe, the Nebraska State Capitol. This is by a different builder. This is John Tucker, so a different builder here, but still very good work. If you've been to the Nebraska State Capitol, I'm sure you recognize that.
Great smaller builds here. This looks like it's by John Tucker as well. One really cool thing is the donut tile. So it's a 2x2 round tile with a hole in the center for an axle or a pin. You had to use it sort of as shingles on the roof there. Looks really, really cool.
Mm-hmm. Excellent work there. Coming back here, this is the next display we're going to check out. Lolug, which is the Lincoln and Omaha LEGO user group. And we'll start here on the corner with this superhero camping layout. So, when they want to get away from everything, superheroes and villains can go camp out in the wilderness.
And there's lights underneath all of the water there and all the tents and all the fires that you see. It looks really great in the dark.
Mm-hmm. And we'll move this direction then. So you got the Deadpool mosaic. Very recognizable. Ninja attack. I like this. So sort of the... garden there, ninja garden, and then different factions, the yellow, red, white, black, all sorts of stuff fighting.
Yeah, mixing some of the older, before my time, ninja series with the old gray ninjas, along with some of the new Ninjago stuff. Mm-hmm. Good idea.
That older ninja series was always one of my favorites. I think there's some really cool stuff from that line.
I have some of the green ones, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, you have the green ninja. It's so new, so expensive. I'm like, no, it's just four of the old ones. Yeah.
Nominated for Best Large Building, Octan Park Baseball Stadium. So large baseball stadiums are always impressive. You get the big stands, the large baseball diamond itself. So
yeah. When this was first set up here, they just had, looks like 300, 400 blank chairs. So since then, they've brought all of their minifigures in here. Looks like Easter eggs from basically every different series you can see, and placed figs and all that, and got everything looking like it's actually an active baseball game. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Next to that, you see a lot of modular style buildings as well. Sort of a cityscape. Some micro stuff there. And I like the train in the background. Cool details.
This is like a kind of fantasy, Egyptian, maybe somebody's own sci-fi series. Looks like we have Medusa here. Maybe this is, I don't know, Greek? Is that?
Greek sounds right.
Greek, Roman, any one of those. All of this lights up in there. Anywhere you see clear parts, even the fires on the middle of the pillars, really, really cool in the dark, as well as some nice detailing in the light here.
prehistoric scene. So you've got some, the water, like jungle and stuff here. This is interesting. Fish tank. I like this Zesto ice cream. So kind of a nice, smooth looking ice cream stand there. The roads.
Great use of negative space again. Church brick, but it's empty and it looks really cool. It looks like it's actually real instead of 2 studs away from the curb that, like you see in some of the other builds here. It's done right, I think.
Yeah. And then next to that, same builder as well, this super nice looking P51D Mustang here.
Great stickering detail. Great stickers.
Carnivorous plants. It's a Star Trek mosaic, so I believe that's called a lenticular mosaic, and it kind of uses the cheese slopes, a couple different images depending on which way you're looking at it.
Some walkie-talkies over here. It looks like they don't work, sadly, because they're Lego, but they look like they could work if they were real. They look really, really accurate.
Yeah, they do. You look at the photo there. That's really great. Here's a 1950s cotton farms. That's sort of an interesting source material here for a Lego build. I like that with the cotton in the field there, and then the houses as well.
Definitely. So 1x1 round studs like that don't actually fit on flower stems. So right underneath them, they have a bunch of brown flowers so that they're able to get white flowers stuck on flower stems like that. Really cool idea. As well as back there, the little harvester or whatever they have is really, really well made. I like that.
And then big Star Wars poster. So this is the classic 1977 Star Wars poster that I'm sure many people are familiar with, recreated with the mosaic form here. I think this is really, really cool. And I think we've got some more mosaics on this side.
Yeah, a couple other, pop culture mosaics. This looks like the flower from Beauty and the Beast.
So you can see how recent movies inspire some of what's at each convention each year.
Couple other, Star Wars mosaics, Boba Fett, Darth Vader, R2.
R2 has some nice sort of 3D stuff going on here. The raised ridge line, and that's lenticular as well, so it kind of changes the color scheme, pink versus blue, depending on your perspective. Nice lightsaber build.
I think that uses some newer Technic piece. I think that's definitely a newer piece, and they've sort of twisted it in there and got some big long axles through the center of it to get the lightsaber blade look that we haven't really had the ability to do on Lego before recently. It's pretty cool.
Let's see, you've got this Texaco station is really great. Lots of, again, smooth tiling and detail there.
Nominated for Best Small Building.
Along with Ray's Music Exchange. So it looks like you've got some instruments and stuff inside there. I really like, it looks like a bunch of printed stuff on the side, lots of printed pieces. And then some really good trains.
Another Star Wars build here, another Scarif build as well, though this is the tallest AT-AT that we have seen today. Really well detailed, especially the legs and the orange bits in there, great accents.
Looking at the builds here, you would think the only scene in that movie was the Scarif scene here.
Yeah, essentially.
That seems to be the most popular one to recreate with Lego, at least. Nicely detailed Lego or vehicles. Best land vehicle here, this nomination, Mustang. And then I think that brings us back to the beginning of this display. So we'll move on then next door, and we are getting somewhat closer to the end. We'll start back here, make our way around. So this is really great. It's like super tiny micro building here. It doesn't get much smaller than this.
So this looks to be the Castle and Pirate collaboration. So you see the octagon in there, and everybody is building their own thing by just bringing one of those, and then it's sort of an open collab, and somebody says, I have an octagon with microscale on it, and they toss it in. It's really great to open up a collab like that and not need much beforehand communication. It works really good.
Mm-hmm. I think this is like Castle and Pirate, so you see that mix there. I like that. And then this here is actually, I believe, a rain stick. So let's see if we can pick this up. And I don't want to break it, but it should Okay, we won't mess with that anymore because I don't want to break the builder's work.
We'll try.
Well, yes. Well, there's the
There we
demonstration. That's the better idea. Let's push this one back together. All set. Then we move on here. Some of these builds we've shown in previous Brick Worlds because they've been at other shows like Indian stuff. So Veggie Tales, Bob and Larry there. And
So it looks like a bunch of smaller vehicles by John Imp, it looks like, I want to say. It might be a different pronunciation of his last name, but overall, a wide variety of these smaller video game, different themes in here. Looks like we got Zelda over to Undertale, all of that stuff. Pretty good.
yeah, and then this is very cool here. So the RET Robo Explorer Transport. Great big vehicle.
This here is the Crystal Fountain. You see all the gears here, and this is, I haven't seen it working yet. I want to stop by when it is up and running. It moves a bunch of light translight blue crystals and up and around and down again. It's sort of a self-propelling and self-feeding function, kind of pointless, but it looks really, really cool once it's up and running, and it's not easy to work with things like this. So underneath he has tread propelling up to the next tread, back up the other way, and sort of ladders up and back down once it gets to the top. Really cool stuff. Comparison to the GBC, it's a completely different style of building. You have to count for a bunch of smaller different things. It's pretty cool.
It is, yeah. And then next door we've got a recreation of a real building. So this is Luther High School, and you can see a photo of the real building there. I think the builders have captured this really nicely with all the details in there, getting the curves and everything and the different levels of the roof.
Next we're over to a build based on the novel Tunnels. So up top we start with a very nice looking modern architecture, sort of Victorian era. We've got some really nice details. The fence, the house, the car there specifically is really cool. And then you move down and it's still all brick, get to a different scene, and it looks like at Cheesy Studios on Flickr, maybe on Twitter there as well. Really great rock work, a lot of brick involved, and a bunch of different skills involved with this, transporting all this. Even it gets down to some medieval looking houses. The use of looks like I want to say Sandy's hat from SpongeBob there is the top of the light posts. And down he gets to a train build, which is really weird to have underneath. And, even further, switches color once again, does some lava, and implements some dark red, has a logo finally on the bottom. It looks really, really great. He has lights throughout all of this. A really, really huge build. This looks like by Caleb. Yeah, good job to Caleb.
Yeah, it's very unique too. Just from the ground up here, all these different levels. It's so interesting. I'm not familiar with the source material at all, but if it's like this build, I think it'd be a very interesting book to read.
Nominated for Best Individual Layout, and you can see why.
And nominated for Best Train here. Very nice locomotive. You got the London Underground. That's cool. So very recognizable if you've ridden that throughout London. Coming around here, some nice micro stuff. Here is, this is very cool. I hadn't seen this before. This is the hotel where we are currently located, the Renaissance Schaumburg Convention Center Hotel.
Where do you think we are? About right there?
Yeah.
Right back in there somewhere?
That's about perfect.
There you go.
So this section is the hotel, and that's the convention center. So very cool. Yeah, that's a really neat build. So shout out to Paul for making that.
Yeah, best youth creation. So once again, this insane level of detail and micro scale done by somebody, I think he's 14 years old, along with a guy over here, Noel. Really, really fabulously detailed spaceships and showing some range. Got a really nice castle building back there as well. I think he's 13 years old, which is a feat in itself.
Yeah. Some people, they just have all the talent, Move on here. And this is sort of a large parking lot with lots of variety of vehicles. I like whatever we've got going on here with like a pool table on wheels, and like the leprechaun. That's very interesting. Star Wars here, Echo Base. I think this is from Hoth. So
Yep, episode 5 looks like before many people have attacked, but there you go. Got the sets in there. Looks really cool.
Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Very popular Star Trek movie. So you've got the ship and everything from that.
I think the ship's names change quite a bit. Generally, Enterprise, the different things in there, Voyager. I don't know. We got 2 of them here.
Yeah. So this is the ambush. So I think that a couple different ones here from that movie. Car race, King's Castle.
A couple other Star Wars builds here, along with some more big scale ships.
Interesting ships there. I really like this one, Gone Fishing. Great rock work, and then the wooden bridge across is really cool.
Definitely. I think I've seen some artwork of this somewhere. If not, it's deserving of a really nice painting or something like that. The idea behind it is a really, really cool, a cavern with a wood house across it. Where have you seen that before? It's really unique.
I think that finishes out this section, so move on to the next part here. And we will start right here with Saw's hideout on Jeddah, which is another Star Wars build.
Yeah, from Rogue One. I think there's some interior detail on the back, and we're going to pop around and look at that. A bunch of different scenes were acted out there. Really, really cool details. You got all the different figs in there and stuff. It looks to be multi-layered. I'm not sure if that was actually true in the original film. I don't think we saw a staircase ever, but it looks really cool. Got, table in there for the guys to hang out. Stuff down at the bottom there. Really, really fun to see people detailing the back and stuff like this that people don't necessarily see all the time.
And the big Princess Leia mosaic there as well is very cool. So this is Paris by Paris. So this builder's name seems to fit very well with the build. So if lots of iconic Parisian architecture here, different scenes from the city coming all the way down here, and eventually ending with the Eiffel Tower at the end here. But all sorts of really cool stuff.
In particular, throughout all these buildings, great use of different tan pieces. Get a nice little greebly kind of etched out look.
Very nice. And then a Pacific airfield here. And if we round the corner, this is Grand Budapest Hotel. So if you're familiar with the movie from a few years ago, you might recognize this. Lots of pink in that sort of shade of brick.
Yeah, magenta and light pink. I'm guessing on the colors again here, but great color usage to match the source material. It looks really cool.
So let's go ahead and move over to this section here, and we'll make our way around. So nominated for Best Individual Layout, this is a really cool kind of space base 2.0. That's what the builder calls this.
I think my favorite detail is the old space logo up on the side there underneath the top platform. Looks really, really cool. It uses, I think, a little lifesaver type thing, a little thing for a lifeguard that fabulously detailed.
Yeah, no, that's very nice. And lots of good smooth tiling and everything, kind of studs not on top work that adds really good effects there. Then once again, some more classic space battling going on here.
This one's been worked on throughout the weekend. I think this is by Mike Larson. We can check once we get to the name over there. Got some sort of elven architecture woven in here. Some really cool ideas and use of particularly the tentacle pieces you don't see too often. And like 3 arches in there, 3 of the four white half arches. It's pretty good stuff. Some nice architecture ideas that are really new.
Yeah, this is a very interesting build. The gray pieces sort of making interesting shape there in the waterfall.
I think it's supposed to be a dragon. I think that's what they're going for there. Really, really unique, definitely.
And then we'll come around this direction, and hit the Chicago area Lego user group. Some of their builds here, some really talented builders. So you've got the Polar Express right here, which is a great train, and a nice medieval layout. Here's super micro city right here. So I believe this is sort of Chicago, and lots of that city recreated in small micro form here.
Yeah, you see a lot of different scales of micro scale building. Over earlier, we're getting a little bit different, but this is a 20-foot skyscraper for 2 inches, which is pretty cool. I like how small they've gone.
Definitely. And then nominated for best spacecraft, this Manta Ray class gunship, which is very cool. This is Peter Mowry is the builder. He's had several amazing spaceships over the years here at Brickworld, and this one does not disappoint. So he's got the whole sort of hangar bay as well as the spaceship itself, and always has interesting backstory. Coming around here, a sort of big pool there, got a Batman layout.
Yeah, different Batman stuff. Maybe Batman Cave. I don't know what inspired it. Definitely Lego Batman movie though.
I like the Sears Tower here. So again, some Chicago architecture. Makes sense since this is the Chicago lug.
Zooming over Bionicle stuff here, and I know they're building a lot of this here. You see the pieces they have back over there, and really cool stuff. I like how they implement just a tiny little bit of system elements. Get these couple hats here. Really cool to see people branching over theme to theme. I know I try whenever I can, and even have a piece that's Bionicle to use that when I'm going the other way. So fun stuff there.
For sure. Then here's a pool with actual water in it, which is really cool. And then Lego builds. So this is sort of the flowers and lily pads here. And then there's, I think, also lights in there as well.
Yeah, so those are the top of Lego Pick-a-Brick cups that you get if you go to the Lego store. So those are completely solid, and they filled those up and weighted them down enough so they float right on top of the water there. Toss some flower things and candles in there. It looks really cool.
Got the real life water there is always interesting.
And this weapon here, and I know it's been featured around the web a little bit, it's from Magic the Gathering. This particular card, really cool idea. Got the blade and then the black detailing in the inside, along with the green foliage stuff on the handle. It's really cool.
And this one here by Alyssa Kirkpatrick, build we featured before, but very cool. The lighting inside there, just a very unique build. All the different shapes she was able to achieve there. And some cool character builds here. You can see some Harley Quinn, some Batman stuff up there. Different comic book superheroes and villains. Then Brickworld Castle stuff. Ice Bricker, nominated for Best Sea Vessel.
And this guy up here, I know it's not going to actually work because they're not real Lego candles, but it's always interesting to see these run in real life. It uses the heat rising from the candles to spin the fan on top and make the things go around on the inside. I think they can probably spin it by hand, but I've always enjoyed those, and it's cool to see one made out of Lego.
It's called a Christmas pyramid, I think, there. So then some mosaics here, and then a piece sorter, and I think then we'll move over here to the Oki lug display and check out what we've got here. So this is the Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana Lego user group, and we've shown some of this stuff before. So you got some cool trains, some really nice buildings, row houses, all sorts of cool little details. Any particular buildings catch your eye?
Taco Bell.
Yes. Sort of a classic looking Taco Bell there.
Yeah, and you got the some other fast food restaurants as well, Kentucky Fried Chicken and Pizza Hut along there. I think we got another Dunkin' Donuts over to the right as well. Cool stuff.
It's very cool. Yeah, and then you've got kind of a drive-in movie theater, the Hero Hall. Got all sorts of cool stuff.
Lots of more trains around here, and I like this one in particular. The use of these different pieces here for the domes. It looks really, really good, and the solid strip along the top is really nice. There's you could talk for hours about all the different train details here. I'm just pointing at a few of them. They're really, really well done overall.
And something you'll notice is there's a lot of train layouts at a show, specifically in the Midwest here, like Brickworld Chicago. It's crazy how many train layouts there are, and so many good train builders just in such a kind of close area here. So it's really great. So next we come to something very different than the train layouts. This is Gamer Lug, and so basically everything here is based on a video game, which means I don't know what most of this stuff is.
I know a little bit.
But I have talked to a few builders, and there are mock cards, which is helpful.
Looks like Counter-Strike Global Offensive here, some older games along with that. It looks like we're hopping into Destiny, Overwatch. A lot of these things are, I think, centered around those probably.
There's just general historic kind of weapons as well here. A little bit of Halo stuff. You'll notice some of that. Yeah, like you said, Destiny. Titanfall, so there's some really great, Nick Jensen brought some really great Titanfall stuff, Overwatch, all sorts of, the detail in these weapons is amazing.
And if you want to check them out, actually working and running, check out his YouTube channel, Nick Jensen. He does some really good
Nick
work.
Brick, on YouTube,
there you go.
Definitely. He's got the wearable stuff here. He's always has like moving stuff in his weapons. He just always blows me away with what he's able to achieve.
Blows you away.
That's exactly right. Massive rocket launcher from Halo 5.
This build over here is by Imogene Rigney. I always call them Imagine. Apparently that's wrong. Looks like
Is it really? I thought it was Imagine.
He corrected me the other day, so...
Wow, I don't know how long I've known him, and I haven't called him that.
It's been a while. Maybe he was messing with me or something, and I'm actually pronouncing it right. Anyway, this is from BioShock. Definitely, it looks really cool. So he's sort of got the logo mixed in, along with scene from the actual video game underneath, and all the interiors on the inside of everything over here actually open up, have lights on the interiors, and move as well. Really, really great detail. I know you guys are going to do a close-up video on this, so definitely look out for that. See all the amazing stuff on the inside and the details, and have him talk about it.
Definitely, yeah. Look for a more in-depth video on that for sure. So you've got more Destiny stuff here.
These are builds by Nick Delamora, so he's got pretty good range, mostly video game stuff. So got some minifig scale stuff, some mechs, and some micro scale ships as well.
Some really cool Star-Lord's pistols and Groot by Evan Bordessa. Really talented builder there. Some Nick Jensen stuff there from Destiny. All sorts of cool stuff. I like these sort of Age of Empires 3 town centers. So I'm a big fan of the Age of Empires games. Played those for a lot of years, and it's always cool when I've seen a few different Lego builds over the years of some of the buildings and stuff from those games.
Yeah, they're pretty good for building on Lego. It's nice.
Here's some cool cars. So these are some cars from the last few years, 2016, 2017, on display.
Then a couple mosaics over here. It looks like from Final Fantasy. Got Cloud in the middle there, along with some more Halo mocks down in the front.
Shout out to Shiloh Parker, always repping the Final Fantasy stuff. You don't see many builds from that, so he really keeps it alive and keeps the Final Fantasy fans happy.
Cool. Looks like we're done here at Gamer Lug. Gonna hop over to some more Bionicle things.
Yes. So coming here, we've got Bionicle is a little bit spread out here, but there are some sections throughout the show, and some smaller stuff here.
One thing I noticed with this is the style is a lot smoother. Uses the same pieces, but there's different styles you can build with anything, including Bionicle. And I really like the look the builders achieved.
Come around here, and this is nominated for Best Vignette, Operating Room. So you can see in there operating
on apparently it was
a
this
tower.
Yeah, tower. You want to give the little history behind this. So every year, Brickworld Master comes back and puts little things everywhere. So you've been seeing these everywhere, including inside builds like this.
And I believe the master last year was Rocco, who's we saw earlier, and so hence why it's a building like that.
Naturally.
So very nice. This is the Ottawa Civic Hospital here. So Canadian builders representing. Urban Japanese train layout. This is very interesting.
Yeah, a little bit of raised stuff here, and I like the buildings in the back. Those are well done as well.
And then move around here. Very cool train track, double train track as we round the corner. Tornado steam locomotive.
Oh, here's something I'm a little bit invested into. So this is some stuff by J.K. Brickworks. So he's got the syphilis back here, Hall, Wally, got the beaver up here. He's from Canada. So up front here we have a couple of pop-up books, and I've actually been a collaborative builder with him on this. It was my idea. I brought him into it. We've had a lot of fun work, and I'm going to hop down here and I'll let you take over, Josh, while I run these.
Yes, yeah, we can get a demonstration here from one of the collaborators.
Oh, I gotta take a little red out there. So you see here, some cool stuff. And I gotta get the plug in. So this is currently on Lego Ideas, so go vote for it, please. Thanks.
Definitely check it out, because who would not want a Lego book?
And we got this one over here, built in brown this time. Similar detailing. Got some cool stuff on the front. Really nice. Back here, got the ghost kind of popping up and down. Skeleton can pop up. Yet it can still all close and fit within, 4 bricks wide. Pretty fun stuff.
Some great designs there. We'll look forward to seeing what happens when that gets the amount of votes on ideas and seeing what they say.
It's plugging along. We'll get there. We'll get there eventually.
Yeah, I'm confident. You guys are good. So we'll move to the next section over here.
This is Toro lug. So a lot of people from Toronto, along with a micro lug within it, orphan lug. We'll mention that in a second.
Okay. So this first build here is interesting. There's a sheet of information here. I was reading over this earlier. Basically, this was a fighter jet designed by a Canadian company that was in production for just a very short amount of time before they scrapped everything and had to destroy it all. So it's kind of infamous in Canada for that, their sort of failed effort at creating these planes. So that's why you see all this burnt, destroyed. It looks like the builder here actually burnt and melted his bricks, which is very interesting.
I was looking at that earlier. They are real Lego, and it is real burn marks. So I guess they're sacrificed for the actual, the display. But I personally wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Move down this way then to the massive bridge. So this is, I think, I'm going to say like a 40-foot long span of bridge. And just designed by one builder. I think they had several builders kind of help them put it together, but it's really crazy. It's got lights all over it, all brick supported.
Definitely.
It's really, really blows you away.
So they got on top of it a road with a bunch of nice little cars, along with on the bottom there a train track running both ways at the same time, I think. Really, really big and good stuff. I think this might be the record for longest individual build here.
I would believe it.
Aside from GBC, which is you can debate on that, this is very, very big.
Yeah, and there's the mixer set as well, riding along there. Yeah, lots of cool stuff, fun vehicles, and like you said, the train track underneath. So that's just really massive. Here's some more carnival type rides. Here's something called Mega Blocks.
Those are actually Lego, so I'm not sure what he's saying there. This build over here, nominated for Best Vignette, is also built by Eric. He's a up-and-coming guy. He's improved quite a lot from previous years. Happy for him to get this nomination. Really, really great stuff here with all the rock combining in with the olive green and the stonework. Really, really good.
Modular Castle Tavern, I believe by the same builder. So this is kind of cool. So you can mix and match the parts there and have it come together easily. Next to that, poutine, famous Canadian dish. Very cool. You got to try that if you ever go up to Canada.
I shall.
So this was done. So obviously we mentioned this is Toralug, the Toronto group. So pretty much all Canadians here nominated for best group layout. Couple of Canadian builders.
So usually Rolf, the main push behind this, was nominated for best individual layout, but he got his girlfriend involved this time, and hence group, 2 people going in there. So he essentially had a bunch of, I think, 1x8 tiles in white, and that's what sort of spurred this color scheme along. Got some of the green joint pieces from Pick a Brick, and hence the domes. Got some really cool custom-made glass pieces for those domes. Really great details over all the grass and all that stuff. And it looks really cool with the black lights he has along the edges as well. I was talking to him earlier. Spent about 9 months on this, I think. Really paid off. Great investment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very impressive. This nominated for best mecha, Commander Carrot's exosuit. So this is a Simon Liu build. I really like this with the red rabbits inside there. And Simon's, I feel like his builds are very iconic for this sort of platform that they're always on the sort of studs not on top type land. Yes. So it's very easy to identify his builds.
So this thing is incredibly sturdy. I think it comes apart in 2 different parts, but it's just solid gray with some of the best greebling you've ever seen. And then you got the big Duplo bunny, which is official Lego pieces. And even down here we have a Duplo bunny with red armor on it, which is just a step up and beyond what you'd ever see before. So best mecha nomination, we'll see if it gets it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. And then mobile launch base, so big use of the nice pink minifigs with the blue trans clear stuff. I like that. And then once again, another mecha nomination here with a whole series of builds by several different mecha builders. Some stuff from Simon, Connor Lill, really talented builders.
Yeah, I think the really cool thing is the bay design. They use some of the bigger yellow arches that we saw in green a little bit earlier. Really cool stuff.
Mm-hmm. And Douglas aircraft here, which is really great, and some detailed cars as well. And then Battlestar Galactica Viper, so nominated for best spacecraft. So if anyone who's seen that show, this is by Chris Madison, who's a great builder. I'm sure you'll be familiar with that. Eastern Air Temple, another best youth creation nomination. Very good stuff here, Micro.
Yeah, so the big thing about this one is that all of the building and all of the tower was done and built here. So I think he started down here at the light bluish gray stuff, had this pre-made, but otherwise he spent the last 2 days making all of these nice white towers with all the rocks and the dark blue roofs and all of the grass involved and stuff there. So really impressive job to then end up getting a nomination after just building it in these couple days. So good job, Micah, there.
And keep moving down here. Oh man, that guy, just that is something.
Yeah, I don't know about him. He seems a little bit iffy there.
Yeah, I don't think that's a legal parts connection. We might have to ban that in the future.
I'm game for that. Anyway, this is me. A little slight sarcasm you probably picked up on there. This is a build I spent couple months on probably. It took me forever to get the look I'm going for. Nobody's really done the brown wall technique before, and the axle technique on the top of the roof there is really hard to come up with too. I spent like an hour per connection on the axle on top. I went through audiobooks after that guy, and so I came up with the look I wanted in the end, and I'm pretty happy with the result. Mm-hmm. So next build is also by me. So this was a build I did for an iron builder competition. They gave me the sort of balloon piece there I used for the Beetle's wings. And so I had to, over 30 days, come up with as many builds as I could using that part. And this was the final one I did, the one I still had intact, and I was able to take it over here to Brickworld a couple days later. A lot of fun, getting some of the things. I had to bricklink more of the dark orange droid arms for the sort of the bone structure on the wings. So I had a lot of fun with it, and I think it turned out pretty nice. I got a nomination for Best Creature, which is cool. There's a lot of better things here than this, so I'm happy with the nomination.
Okay, yeah, congrats on that. So did this survive the flight pretty well over here?
After 6 hours and and stuff. Yeah, 6 hours of work after the flight.
So it did okay.
Yeah.
But it looks good now. That's what's important.
Uh-huh.
Keep moving down this direction. Best humor, Marcus Rollbuehler here, a German builder who's actually now a Lego designer as well,
Yes.
but has been in AFOL for many years.
Yeah, so I need to explain orphan lug here. So we are in the Torah lug tables, but Simon is kind enough to reserve extra tables and sort of builders that show up like me from Oregon and Marcus from Germany and Micah from Pennsylvania. They sort of show up and they're orphans that don't have anywhere to go, so they come join Torah lug in the miniature lug underneath that orphan lug. So really great for Marcus to show up here, along with Ian over here with the Rejects Seattle, another nomination for Best Humor right next to each other. Those are so pop culture things that look really wacky on purpose.
Yeah, I think it's sort of a parody of the Brickheads a little bit. I believe that was sort of Ian's because, there's definitely mixed reviews of the Brickheads, so that was kind of his parody of those.
There you go, yeah. More builds by Marcus here. A lot of things that fit inside some of the globes you can buy for like ornaments on your Christmas tree. Got a nice little Groot here, one of the smaller ones here. I think it still stands up detail. This cathedral, look at that. Colors galore and amazing techniques on the inside of those towers using rubber bands and clips and a lot of illegal connections, if you believe it, and really, really great job by him on this. I'm in love.
This section is just full of nominations. It speaks to how talented all the builders are. And I guess in the orphan lug here.
Orphan lug and then Torah lug. Yeah.
So really cool stuff. Another Marcus build there with the Kingfisher. Then this is one of my favorite builds at the show, nominated for Best Artwork. This is Mel Finelli's Picnic in the City. So you got the bike and the lamppost, the excellent picnic basket using the minifig hands on top there. Just so much awesome detail here and just the perfect scene.
There you go. Yeah. Really great job. She was over at Brick Can. I think she got Best in Show there. Even though, it's not that big, it's only a couple feet wide, still fabulously detailed, and you can step 2 feet back and it looks like the real thing, which is really amazing.
And then also by Mel, and then also some stuff by Marcus here, some vignettes, I believe some Harry Potter stuff.
Yeah, so this is a collab they did. Each builder had a set of vignettes they did for each chapter of each Harry Potter book. So I think Marcus did Chamber of Secrets, and Mel over here, what you're seeing now is I think the 6th book. I'm not sure on that there, but a really great collab. We have 2 of the builders here displaying their stuff, and they're basically the best vignettes you could possibly make. Really, really good stuff.
Mm-hmm. And then another between both of those builders as well. This is kind of, they made sort of fighting side factions here together and did what they call a non-collab because they didn't want to officially collaborate, but they built some cool stuff together still.
They made some good puns on their own names. So for Mel, they did Mel Force One, and then a couple of
the Melicarrier.
Melicarrier, there you go. So there, and Rolly, Marcus's name on Flickr, so they did a Rolly Copter and Rollimus Prime and a couple other things in there. A lot of humor, and so not really a serious collab, but they had fun with it, and that's what this is all about.
It's really cool stuff. Then I think a little bit of Lego Movie, Lego Batman action here. And then also I think that we got Bob Ross here. That's very cool.
Bob Ross has been big on the internet recently, so there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is by Nick. We saw some of the stuff earlier. A lot of nice character builds throughout here. He's really good at that.
Yeah, very nice. So then I think the next section we're on is, let's see, we talked about Bionicle. So we've got this big castle down here, trying to make sure we don't miss a section as we make our way through. So this is a castle that, again, if you've seen past Brickworld videos, sections of this have made it to Brickworld shows in the past. There was a really unfortunate incident with this year where the builder, the section showed up really broken up, and he's been spending a ton of time putting it back together for the public to enjoy. So you might notice some sections are not totally perfect, but it looks like he really got it together pretty well.
And fabulous job by this builder to have over the years gathered enough stuff to be able to pull this off. A really huge display. You could say this is done by 12 builders, and I'd still call that impressive, but just by one is even more so.
Yeah, it just no matter how many times you see this, blows you away. I love the brick built tents are always one of my favorite parts of this, especially like the big massive tent there, all the different slope pieces he uses, and the buildings, palaces, the walls, just everything is so cool with this. And then something here that has been making an appearance at a lot of shows all throughout the country. This is Brickmania's massive USS Missouri battleship, which, again, very impressive every time you see it. There's lights, lots of minifigs, turrets, so just very neat stuff. If you haven't seen this before, definitely look on the channel for a more in-depth video we've recorded with Dan Siskin in the past about how he designed that. And now we'll start here and make sure we keep hitting everything and don't miss any sections.
Another small pirate build, good stuff again. We can keep moving down the line.
Looks like we've got some small builds here and then sort of a build with a background to it. So a nice, I think using some of the elves kind of line here.
Yeah, that's something you haven't seen too much of yet. It's still a pretty new theme. They got a lot of the different elves, dragons in there. It's nice.
Hover tanks and military stuff there. Looks like we got sort of cool building here. Then around the corner is a really nice, very large layout. This is the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C., so something that a lot of people are probably familiar with. If anyone who visits Washington, D.C., this is kind of one of the must-hit spots there in the city. Very iconic and full of the Vietnam veterans' names there, so it's very, very cool.
Yeah, really, really well built too, I must say. It's got a really nice, the angle to it's like a steep angled V, along with not settling for just using tiles, but only 1x1 tiles throughout the entire thing. The perfect taper down at the bottom there too, up to the top. It's only a couple bricks over, looks like 100 studs long. It's really, really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's just massive and impressive. You've got some of the tribute stuff that Brickworld does each year in relation to Bricklink and the founder of Bricklink, who passed away several years ago now, and some of the memorial stuff they do. A nice Star Wars build. This caught my attention, this front section specifically, because that would also double as a really great World War I trench scene. So, just switch some minifigs out, and you could have a great World War I build there as well if the builder was looking to change things up at all.
Yeah, this might be completely fan-made or from the extended universe. I don't know. It looks like post-episode 4, so post-episode 6 probably, somewhere in there. We'll find out actually later.
It fits in someplace in the universe. Nice western town here, old Indian tents, and some trains there as well. So let's see, I think head this direction and keep making our way down. Start with this cool mosaic here, which is A New Day. And so this is by Adrian and Shelley Drake. Really nice mosaic. I like the colors there.
Definitely. They got some very subtle use of, I think, baby blue, something like that.
One of those shades of blue.
Very good job, yes.
Some sort of bionicle and mech stuff. As we move down the line here, really cool. There's some interesting characters there.
Yeah, more Five Nights at Freddy's animatronics in there.
Mm-hmm. Hawkeye versus Ultron, I like that. Jeddah, once again, some Star Wars. And kind of a mishmash of different small builds there. Some Star Wars stuff. This is a really cool build with the way it slopes down.
Yeah, they actually didn't use tiles or slopes or anything. They used big actual base plates and integrated those into their slope to make sure that they still have, the exact perfect curve and lines for the road. And down here, I think we still have another one of these guys popping out.
Oh, attached to the skeleton.
Yep, okay, we'll put that back.
I like that, though. They do a good job placing those. And some Friends stuff. Moana. Got some sort of Star Wars vignettes, some base plate builds.
There you go. Yeah.
Here's some really cool mecha stuff. This is awesome. Yeah, nominated for best mecha. That's a very impressive build there.
Yeah, a lot of tan in there, dark tan, really great integration. Subtle light gray greebles in there, along with these others over here that are made other different colors. Really good color blocking on these, I think, and great part usage overall. It's fabulous.
Another Deadpool mosaic here. Here's you get the meme here.
I think that's pretty good, but that's none of my business.
Okay, moving on. Beauty and the Beast mosaic. I think depending on your perspective there, you kind of get both sides of it. This is very cool. So this is sort of wood put over Lego bricks here and then used to create a mosaic of, I believe it's Keld Kirk Christensen, one of the family members of the owners of the Lego group.
Yeah, so using different types of wood, different shades of wood, different whatever and wood to get the exact different little pixels that they need in there. I want to say pixels because that's how we understand grids nowadays. But yeah, there you go. Really good work with that. It's turned out pretty nice.
Yeah, very cool. Ian Heath's bricks of character. So stuff from Star Wars, all sorts of movies, memes, TV shows, you name it, he does it.
There you go. That's Ian and his personality described.
It's always cool to see what he brings. So that finishes out that section down here. So this is a couple of interesting builds. This first part here, which has the nomination for Best Airship, is part of an airport. And I believe this is a Canadian builder. Came down from the Toronto area for this.
Yeah, really, really big. We saw a couple of airports earlier, but this is definitely the biggest airplane I've seen in a long time. The diameter of the pipe in there has got to be at least 15, 20 studs. Really, really huge. And, great job throughout the entirety of the mock, not just the airplanes themselves, although that is what was nominated. You got like bending of base plates up top there. I've never seen that before. That's crazy. And the detailing inside is really fabulous too.
Yeah. And then next door to that is a build that, again, appeals to the historian side of me, but also incredible Lego work here as well. So this is a castle build that depicts a real scene that happened just a few days before the end of World War II, where you can see the German, French, and American troops defending the castle against the more hardcore German troops that refused to surrender as the war was ending. So this is a fascinating story, and the builder's done a great job with all the details on the castle, the custom minifigs and everything. I really like this build.
Yep, you got Bilbo and Gollum down there, along with another, castle or tower that's been stuck everywhere.
Throws in a little fun detail there. Next, we come to what is just a very unique part of Brickworld and has been for the last few years, and that is Graham Diamond, who brings his massive Duplo collection. Actually, this is only like a third of his whole Duplo collection, and has builders collaborate and create all sorts of stuff. So first we've got, as Grant is demonstrating for us now, we've got the Duplo arcade. So this has like tons and tons and tons of games on it from all different gaming systems over the years, and lots of stuff you can play. Right now, Spider-Man is beating on the Hulk there.
Anyway, yeah, no, he's got this all integrated in, and 2 players, everything. It's pretty cool. Was this nominated for best individual display? I think this
or group might even be a group layout because it was built by a bunch of people. Even though Graham brought everything. Yeah, so I think it was nominated for group layout.
That's distracted a lot of kids over the weekends, and including me. It's been good.
So yeah, there's a few things to point out here. You've got the bar with kind of tables and stools. You've got I really like this. So there's Scrabble, and he made these custom engraved Scrabble pieces on Duplo. So this is really awesome.
Put a lot of work into getting all the little different things worked out for this. I think they were playing poker on this. Lego poker chips. There you go.
Exactly. The TV over there, watching movies.
Oh, and over here we got to check out the mini fridge.
Okay. I mean, a Lego mini fridge. How can you beat that?
There you go, an actual mini fridge.
That is sweet. Oh, and he also brought his son with him, so there's the Spider-Man tent there where his son can stay. So it's been really great. I just love that. The Duplo adds such a unique part to the show. I really like that. So then moving on here, why don't we go to the end of this line and make our way back is probably the best way to do that. So kind of start right here with this is actually a group of builders that came from China. It's very, very cool stuff. So this is Heroes Club Lug. And so these builders, it's really great that they were able to come. I think it's the first time that a big group of builders has come from China to a show in the U.S. So it's really impressive. They have some great mecha stuff. They've got helicopters. Also, this mountain build is really impressive.
Definitely really good rock work on that, and overall detailing. I really like it. You definitely feel the foreign culture influence on this.
And then nice residence there, so housing. Massive dump truck semi-trailer, so I mean just really nice diversity of builds here as well with these.
A lot of more Technic building to get even a similar look to you'd see other people pulling off with other bricks. Really cool idea to do that, and some of it's really big, like this guy here, pretty huge.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll bounce back and forth between some of these smaller squares. So over here you got the puzzle inspired by a Time Saver game, and so this is moving trains around to try to get them to the correct colors, and you got a timer there.
Yeah. All right. Move down here, I guess.
Sure. So there's signs here that talk about what each of these kind of sections is. So we got a Ninjago Park, which is very cool.
It's like integrating the set over here with their own things, and that's pretty common to do. Integrate a Lego set and build a scene around it. It's pretty fun.
Renaissance Fair, which I really like the castle stuff and then all the little details in there.
A lot of color in here, a lot of flowers. Pretty nice.
Here's a go-kart track. That's with the tires. I really like that.
Yeah, a bunch of Lego tires around there. That's what it actually looks like. Yeah. I think I've played on this exact course or something very similar to it.
I will say that looks like a lot of go-kart courses throughout. I feel like, I don't know, that's kind of a typical design, but who knows. So this is actually, this builder, James Burrows, is part of the Greater Florida Lego Users Group. So get some builders up from Florida here.
There you go. Got the grand carousel around here as well. And this very nicely done statue of Tinkerbell, just out of basic brick and tile. I'm not even sure they have any plates in there, but you can still peg at the design immediately from really far away. Really well done.
And Wild West City next door. I like the colors in the mountains there. And the old western buildings and the Congo River Rapids mini golf course. So if you see in there, it's like a mini golf course that runs throughout some of the islands. And I like sort of the rafts on the river there and everything, and then obviously the roller coaster as well.
Yeah, there's I think Jurassic Park inspired. There's more dinosaurs than there should be in just a mini golf place. But the roller coaster is pretty cool once it starts running.
I like the placement of the tower on this one as well, in the dinosaur's mouth.
They're not too afraid about just sticking it directly in the middle of things.
The Ferris wheel here, carousel. Nice red barn there. And then sort of a cityscape here. The can you spot it thing, so it kind of find different details in the build. And I think that finishes out this section, so we'll bounce over here real quick. So this is, I believe, the Eurobricks Collaborative.
That is correct.
So it's sort of an amusement park and has all sorts of cool rides like the River Wheel, which is a water Ferris wheel.
Yeah, definitely great detailing on that, and got a lot of brown pieces in there. Nice little accents, green chairs. I think that's the perfect finishing touch. Mixture of dark brown and brown is really cool and works really well.
And then let's see what other interesting rides do they have here. The Bounty. So this is kind of one of those ships that swings back and forth. I like the sort of half-buried truck almost there into the water.
Yeah, there you go. And even along the outside of this collaborative, they've all got this different gargoyle-type looking guy. Really, really cool that they've all been able to design that and all build it and bring it for their own display.
And Kevin Wagner, who we mentioned earlier, has this really cool castle, haunted castle there. It's good stuff.
And this in here, we've got sand blue, sand green, sand red, sand purple, all of those amazing colors, and the sand variant that are kind of old and harder to get. Really impressive collection, and yet built, and the way they've used all those colors is really cool.
And notice the road sort of work throughout this whole thing as well. The groundwork is like cracked and just really nice work there.
Definitely up there for the group displays we've seen, because to keep a standard like this, like the edge and the ground, is really hard for so many builders.
For sure, and the tower drop in the middle, kind of a darker take on the carousel with the skeleton horses. And then caterpillar here, and the big giant mushroom.
I think she may have not gotten it working yet, but this falls down here, it's plopped down here, and underneath there's actually a conveyor belt back, an elevator up into the mushroom and back down. I'm not sure if it's working yet, but she's definitely going to, sometime in the future, get it up and running. She had a little bit of, technical issues.
Which, understandable moving stuff.
Definitely, yeah. We'll see it happen. And then finally over here, this temple, all of the nice details in here is really well done with the tan and dark tan pieces.
Yeah. So that's Eurobricks Collaborative. Very cool stuff there. Move around here to some of this. It's a long layout here, a lot of minifigs, some Star Wars stuff mixed in, kind of a mishmash of a lot of stuff. Big gray base plates. Here's Friends Restaurant.
A lot of different of the Friends minifigs in there. It's a good collection of them.
I like this nominated for Best Airship, Harley's Balloon. That's really cool.
Yeah. Got the nice different newer slopes in there. Some of like the 2x4 slopes at the top to make that perfect little diamond shape. It's really good.
And then here you got some of this sort of pixel type characters there. That's kind of cool looking.
Yeah, a couple of Pokemon in there. Flip and Bellsprout. Nice Pokeballs as well.
A whole bunch of classic vehicles here. Old McDonald's farm. I like that. That's actually, that barn looks really nice. It's a much more kind of smooth, finished look than a lot of barns have.
Yeah, and then they integrated some, not just all dark red, but old brown as well in there. That's really good.
And then let's see, the theme, this build kind of ties into the theme, which is lights, camera, bricks, or lights, camera, action at the show this year, something along those lines. And so this is lights, camera, lunch, and you can see them taking a break from shooting and getting the food truck there. The shoe house. And coming along here, it looks like some builders kind of working on some stuff there. Here's a large, great pyramid. So, sort of, basic brick there, but a very impressive just because of its height.
Along with the St. Louis Arch, just out of basic brick and plate, but it looks really good. They got some really great shaping on it.
Yeah, very cool. And the big Willis Tower as well. And then this is very cool, tiny micro sort of cemetery.
Yeah, like so this was, did you just mention this is for an iron builder competition?
I did not. It is? Okay.
Yeah, so this piece right here, this white and then light gray.
The shield piece?
Yeah, the shield piece at Pentagon in there. So this whole row here uses that piece, and we'll point it out. So this was one of the first ones she did in the month, and she just sitting down every night and making one of these new things. So over here, this sushi buffet, we got it right there for the little trays going around. And I think it runs at some point all the way around. Really cool build. Couch cushions there for the drapes in light gray. Really great detailing.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So same piece again. Goomba teeth. Question mark block from Super Mario Bros.
Very iconic looking there. Nominated Best Humor. Very cool. The Art of Deception and Where is Rex. So yeah, then Coming back to this square over here. We don't have too much left here. This is Micropolis. So this is about the third or fourth large section of Micropolis. There's really a lot of Micropolis being represented this year.
Get together and like build a baseball field worth of Micropolis. They've got enough for it.
They should, yeah. But it's impressive stuff. It's something you can stare at and kind of look through for a long time and still see more details. So really cool, like this building here. Lots of little greebling on there.
Yeah, and I could repeat the same thing as I said earlier, but these guys have super quality parts once again that they're using.
Like the brick separators on the side of the building there.
Yes, definitely.
Here's the sort of very similar to the Atomium in Brussels in Belgium, which I was visited recently when I was there. Very interesting building.
Got one of the the other towers put on there again.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, some great Micropolis work. Come to this square here. Start with Casey McCoy's self-portrait, which is really cool. So it's a mosaic he made, and I think it captured him really nicely. A very good job there.
Casey doing some of the other things. Some looks like Rogue One characters in there. Got some other pop culture stuff around as well. Some really nice detailing. He's got vignette style stuff, characters, mosaics. Pretty all around nice builder. It's good.
Mm-hmm. And then interesting sort of planet work.
And there's that bright green color again that you barely see, and that's really, really unique. So I guess different planets they're looking at here. Pretty nice stuff.
Benny's Space Homestead. Oh, next I really like this, the wedding cake.
So the cool details are definitely the cherries for like little bits of frosting, and then the white croissants for the other white bits of frosting in there. It's really cool.
And this and the next few builds we're looking at are done by Bob Carney and his wife. So Bob's most famous for the incredible castles he builds, but he's also got some other good stuff here. So like local sports teams in the Chicago area, the tissue box, and then here, like I mentioned, his castles. So this is, let's see, I think the name is here somewhere. I don't even know if I want to take an attempt at that.
So I was adventurous earlier, but look at that name.
We'll just let the reader decide how that should be pronounced.
Anyway, the castle's really nice. You don't see white with dark orange accents very often. Really, really good job.
Something that's interesting about this castle is it's basically, if you look at the blueprint, shaped like a ship, and so you kind of comes to a point at the front, and it's really interesting. So I believe this is on sort of an island in the Rhineland area of Germany, and was used to collect taxes there.
Got another back cave down here. Really cool looking stuff. Maybe a little bit older series. I don't know. There's a lot of back caves around here. They're all got uniqueness to them. They're all pretty cool.
Always fun details inside there. Got some smaller builds here, like the chess set there. And then Boundless Love. So you sort of got the white and gray hands holding there. I like that. So then here we have the Awana Tower. So it looks like this is inspired by the Aeon Center in Chicago. I like how they stuck the tower on the side there.
And these are some nice smaller builds done by Michael. I've been talking to him earlier. He's been working on it and his stuff. We've got some really nice Hobbit inspired builds down in there. The tentacles for the wall in there, the gate. And then over here, this nice orc tower. I think if you were adventurous, which I'm not going to be today, the rope actually does go up and down, and really, really nice detailing throughout. It's really cool. All the different layers and different things around back and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's really cool. And some of the smaller vehicles. And the big land speeder here as well. And then it looks like we've got Captain Marvel, life-size Captain Marvel statue.
And then moving over to some more classic space stuff. Really, really nice. Big display this time. It's really
This
big.
was had some really impressive lights on it during the World of Lights. This was lit up really nicely. And then you see sort of Death Star playset there.
Little forced perspective down in there. We haven't seen too much of that. We got the life-size or figure-size droids with the sandcrawler in the back at a lot smaller scale.
The pirate ship nominated for best airship here. So this is an interesting, sort of steampunk-looking build. Here's a massive Heroica layout, and I think Grant, you mentioned the Heroica figs earlier, but this is sort of like a short-lived game, like board game setup almost that Lego made, and it didn't seem to go over that well, and so it didn't stick around real long. But obviously, some people have decided to expand on it.
It looks like it's definitely playable, and it would take a couple months to get through this entire board. It's pretty big.
Yeah. And move around here. Looks like you've got some Lord of the Rings characters, Battle of Brickworld.
I like that they use the flag from Moana down there, along with a couple of the flags. It's pretty cool.
It's a nice mishmash of different themes. Same with some of these builds here. I like this oaken house. Some really great architecture building here. It's very neat. Nuclear reactor and cooling tower. So lots of work going on there.
A Lego pinball. Oh, come on. Oh, maybe this isn't pinball. Maybe this is.
It's to get it. You want to get it caught on the, or you want one stuck.
Victory, victory. There we go. Oh, skill shot. Okay, not pinball. We had a pinball machine at Bricks Cascade a couple months ago.
There was, yeah. Very cool. So another Lego Batman mosaic here, which is nice.
Really nice stuff going on with string over here. I'm not sure this is Lego string, but it definitely could be done with Lego string if it had enough. So basically, they just got 1x1s along the edge of their outline and did strings in the middle. It looks pretty cool.
And then let's see, some builds on. I like this terrarium here. So it's kind of encased, and you've got the animals inside. I think that's pretty cool.
Look at that! Even on the inside of the terrarium, they have another one of those.
Man, they just pop up everywhere. And then finally with this square, I think this is Tharsis, the mechanical city. So this is kind of an interesting city here. One thing is I've walked by this earlier. Caught my eye was the tiling effects in kind of the ground floor there.
Yeah, and the layout of the staircase is really good, along with the layout of the buildings around. It's really nice.
That's very interesting. So then we'll move down here. I think we've got a few 2 or 3 squares left. And right now we start with some very micro sort of 2D pixelated art here, or I guess military stuff.
I think they're intended to be like that. It's called the 8-bit armies. Yeah.
8-bit armies, I like that. And some more science fiction futures here. Different marines and things, vehicles.
A little bit going, what's it, StarCraft Neo-Protoss in there? Yeah, you know, the orange, or the yellow with the trans.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Sakura Cherry Blossom Shrine. I like that.
A couple of things from the movie Caddyshack, a couple of popular scenes in there. This builder, Ben, has been doing some really nice stuff, got a lot of nice little details. My favorite one is the little tricycle in the back over there. Really hard to see, but really well done.
Yeah, that's really neat. This next one has like a turntable, so you can check it all out.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's really cool when builders do things with 360 sides. I think this is probably my favorite side, though. There's great details all the way around. And hanging from a chain in the middle is another tower. Okay.
Here we come to one of the best of the mini Star Wars builds. This is one of the best here. Lots of details. There's like caves underneath, all sorts of, the bigger build-up architecture parts.
So this is something from Rogue One that's not Scarif. There we go. This is Jeddah City. You got the carrying the Kyber crystal down in there. The ambush happening. A lot of cool stuff. All the the little things draping over the city streets is really cool too.
And move around here. This is sort of a steampunk western. I really like this. You got the saloon, the bank, the hotel, and then all the creatures that are being ridden around.
So this is the great steam bug migration, not steampunk. My favorites are definitely the slugs here, and these guys over here pulling this. Fabulously done, really great stuff. I think they got a bunch of different builders from around the U.S. to collaborate on those little bugs.
Yeah, that's really cool. And then Flight of the Aeronauts. Some interesting flying ships there. And move down here, you've got sort of a Star Wars mashup with, and then next to that we've got a Batman build. This is actually really nice. I love the background there that you created for some more of that forced perspective type look.
Yeah, a Joker funhouse type thing in here, looking really good. The teeth with the newer rounded tile over there, that's really nice as well. Steampunk airship, another airship. Rick and Morty build, that's pretty popular right now. A lot of people would know what that is.
I think this is the third Deadpool mosaic, so I think that would be popular as well.
Yeah, big Hollywood movie coming out, mosaics happen.
That's exactly right. And then here's a string of 4 Frank Lloyd Wright houses that are really great. This is done by a builder named Riley. He's, I think, like 13 years old, something like that. Very young builder, but definitely you can see potential for some great talent in the future.
Nominated for Best Youth Creation once again, yes.
Mm-hmm. Very impressive. We'll start here at this square with nominated for Best Small Building, the Shadow Tower. A nice use of the purple stuff there.
Yeah, this is a whole row of 3 tables here by Tim Liddy. Fabulous builders, really good at detailing everything, and especially his character builds. Nominated and won Best Vignette last year, the one you're looking at right now. Maleficent. It's called All the Powers of Hell. Maybe it's not anything particular, but a really, really nice dragon-looking thing there. The Lich is apparently from Adventure Time, along with Finn and Jake over here to the left.
The Scooby-Doo is really great. The characters and everything there. It looks like they're even built to maybe have some movement in them.
Yeah, they all run at a nice little pace. It's really, really great to look at. And the bats up here swirl around as well.
And then some minifig scale Scooby-Doo scene here.
Yeah, so you see the lights of the fire back there, but there's also a nice light little right up in here on this guy, this like slasher coming to scare.
Sure, very harmless individual.
No harm intended.
And then, some really detailed Batman figures here. These are great. And then here, wow, very compact building.
Yeah, this definitely looks like it's intended to be post-apocalyptic something with so many random pieces scattered everywhere. Probably some zombie apocalypse on the outside of these walls. I don't know what happened here, but wasn't good.
Sort of a slums. And let's hit the Brick 101 booth here, and before we continue over there, so we don't miss this. So this is some Dave Pickett and Dave Pagano work. So this is Dave Pagano's big builds here. So some of his different characters he has built over the years. Really good busts of different characters. And then here's Dave Pickett's work with all different stuff that he's done. You can see a lot of this in his YouTube videos. Again, Five Nights at Freddy's stuff there.
Right, and I think for a lot of these, he gives tutorials for these builds and how to build them exactly. So definitely go check out his YouTube channel if you want to copy some of these things and get a little taste of what it's like to build here at Brickworld.
For sure. And so together they teamed up and wrote the Lego animation book, which is a really great book on sort of stop motion and Lego animation stuff. So if you're interested in that, check that out. And then they always run the film festival here at Brickworld as well. So really cool stuff there. We'll come back over here then and get lights, camera, movies. So again, here's the poster for the theme. So it's lights, camera, bricks is the theme this year. And so that's why you see, looks like you've got sort of different movie scenes here. I see some Jaws, some Back to the Future, some Willy Wonka stuff in there. And then here's a cool Iraq build.
Yeah, a couple more war builds in here, a couple memorials to different wars and veterans.
It's like you had some possibly Vietnam here, I believe. Then some military vehicles. Hedgerows build there, very nice. I like the use of the telephone lines. And then Coldwater Keep, so kind of a nice castle build here as well.
There you go. I think that about wraps it up. It is very late in the night. I am pretty tired.
Let's see here. It's 3:20 in the morning, so that's pretty crazy.
Anyway, this is what Brickworld is. You saw essentially every single build, talked about majority of them. Had a pretty fun time with Josh here.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you to Grant for helping me out with this. It's really, really good stuff, and I hope all of you enjoyed watching as we walked around and tried to give our best input on some of the mini builds here at Brickworld Chicago. It's so massive. It's impossible to hit on every single thing, but we do our best to show you as much as possible. So I hope you enjoyed this look at Brickworld Chicago, and definitely do your best if you can to come out and be in person at the show in the future, because it's well worth being here in person to talk to the builders and experience these builds yourself. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.